All right, investors. How you doing, investors? This is day 68. Day 68. Day 68. And don't forget, this week right here will be a bombshell week for the Karmelo Anthony appeal process and the new legal team. Yes, this week right here. This week right here. But let me go in and take care of the algorithm. Karmelo Anthony case, day 68. I got to pause. The black community, we have been standing strong. I remember when, we were like, this is day 9, this is day 10, this is day 20, this is day 30, this is day 40. We are in day 68 of standing strong for Karmelo Anthony. We've been screaming, free Karmelo Anthony, wrongfully convicted. I believe Karmelo Anthony. And this is it. Woo! What else is in the Collins County partial transcripts? We had a part 1 when we went over Mike Howard's defense attorney closing arguments. Part 2 was the prosecutor Bill Wirskye closing arguments, which actually I gave him a higher score than Mike Howard, because what Bill Wirskye put in his closing arguments was actually more damning to the state's case, if people just actually think about it. And then part 3 was on the medical examiner, Dr. Elizabeth Ventura's testimony on the oath, where, it was some bombshells in there. That video is still going. I'm going to say viral in my world, especially being a small channel. Woo! The information that came out of that, and the information that more and more investors or viewers who's just stopping by just to look at the content, woo! Bill Wirskye was the one that actually brought up the impalement term theory in the Dr. Ventura's cross-examination. That was intense. Jane Duggar, the Collin County court script reporter, you captured the intensity in that. Now I'm gonna give you credit for that one. But it actually was the prosecution that brought up the impalement theory. But then going back to part 2, the way that he came off, or the way that Jane Duggar wrote it, she captured it in the transcripts. It made it seem like he was getting upset that the defense brought it up. And I guess, just like Mr. Shook went back and double cross examined Dr. Ventura. He said, did I bring up the word impalement? And she said, no. He said, I rest my case. So it actually was the the prosecutor, y'all. I'm trying to get it together. I'm trying to hold it together. It's funny, y'all. It's funny. They know exactly what happened under that tent, but they refuse to tell everybody the truth. But we know, so let me go ahead and finish taking care of this algorithm, because what's going to happen today? We had volume 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I think that's what it was. I'm going to randomly select another volume, because it seemed like every time I just select one, it just keep building and building and building. And we find some information out that we didn't know about. But actually, Mr. Shook, when he described that force under the tent of the moving of the body, and how the medical examiner was talking about the womb looked like it came from the front to the back versus in and out, I said, oh, hold on, what's going on? And y'all, did y'all pick up? Let me put my glasses on, because I'm going to take them off. Y'all. Welcome to Tony Talks Vested Up Compelling Sports. Make sure you go and get your notes, your drink, and your vest. I don't have my glasses. But did y'all take notice of the lining, the questioning, the line of questioning? It was very odd to me. And I said, we're in an active courtroom setting. The defense go up. He's describing hypotheticals. Now, follow me now. The defense is describing hypotheticals. The prosecution is describing hypotheticals. And I said, why are we describing hypotheticals versus exactly what happened under the tent? You got Karmelo Anthony sitting right there, who has been charged with first-degree M-word since he was the age of 17, being sitting in a courtroom at the age of 19, and his life is flashing in front of him, and you, the prosecution, is talking about hypotheticals with the medical examiner. Why wasn't they talking about the real facts of the case? Why, if you got Karmelo Anthony sitting there, you already know what the weapon was that was used, right? Why are we talking about hypotheticals? Y'all, it's something that we already know that. We already know that. I really enjoyed part 3, y'all. I really enjoyed part 3. I enjoyed part 3 so much, I went back and I cut a segment out of it and I made it his own separate video, and that is getting much love too. So thank you to all of the investors, all of the ones that sit behind the screens, don't have the ability to type or text or decide just to be a silent investor. I thank you too, because the information that has been coming out in these partial transcripts. And once again, thank you, Nikki, for telling me about what we're going to talk about 4 lives ago back, that these partial transcripts was out here. So tonight I'm going to randomly select one and we're going to move forward with that, okay? Well, let me go and take care of the algorithm. But Karmelo Anthony, day 69, I'm sorry, day 68. What else is in the Collins County partial transcripts? Part 4, free Karmelo Anthony. Tonight, we're going to continue with part 4 of an examination of the Collin County partial trial transcript connected to the Karmelo Anthony case. The deeper we go into the courtroom record, the more questions they are to examine and question. Let's see here. We're going back to the actual words spoken in court. No headlines, no social media summaries, or no one else interpretations. Hey. As Karmelo Anthony case moved through its next legal stage, understand the trial record becomes increasingly important. So this week here, we have 72 hours before Karmelo Anthony and his defense, a team led by Dr. Russell Wilson, exactly 72 hours this upcoming Wednesday, y'all. This upcoming Wednesday will be the first motion to recuse John Roach. And the very next day on August the 20th, it will be the motion for a new trial. That's why I said this week right here will be pivotal in the Karmelo Anthony appeal case, trial, headlines. Oh gosh. Y'all just be ready for it. Y'all be ready for it. Y'all be ready for it. Y'all be ready for it. Okay. As the Karmelo Anthony case moved through its next legal stage, understanding the trial record becomes increasingly important. And hopefully these are some of the same trial records that they're going to bring up in day, what's this, August the 20th, the second day for the motion for a new trial. Okay. We'll continue to document and analyze what happened inside of that courtroom and what portions of the record could be significantly during post-trial and appellate process, y'all. Now, so I'm going to ask you, what else can we learn from the portions of the transcript currently available to the public? Now, I don't know for the people that actually probably paid the $2,500. I hope it included the full transcripts, but what we working with, over 600 to 700 pages, good enough for me. It's good enough for me. And once again, I know Mike Howard brought up in his closing statements, he talked about 2 wounds. I haven't seen that in the prosecution closing statement, nor the questioning to the medical examiner, but who knows, that could have been redacted out of there. But hey, Jane Duggar, if she has redacted it from the other parts of the transcripts out of volume 8 and volume 6, she missed one in Mike Howard's closing statement. Let's keep going. Also, what did the prosecution tell the jury? We went over that. What did the witnesses testify under oath? I think, y'all, let's do that one tonight. I'm gonna try to find a volume. Let's see what the witnesses said. Let's see what the witnesses said, because one thing that the prosecution did say, they were nice, they came from good families, but they was just mistaken. I said, that sounds like witness tampering. And he also said the witnesses, even though they had different accounts, their tension was not there. Their tension was everywhere, but they pieced the story together. That's what the prosecution say. Hey, that's what he said. If you caught part 2, I read it word for word. We pieced the story together. What was challenged by the defense? what are these statements that are taken on complete what are their statements that are taking on a complete different significance when we examine along other testimonies? So let's go for it, investors. Well, welcome to Tony Talks once again. Welcome to Tony Talks once again. Let me go ahead and close this right here because I want to start off with this right here. All right, investor, come on with it. I want to start off with this right here. Let me turn this down. Here we go. Now, this is, so we talked about the article that we read. As of now, we still don't know if both of the proceedings will be live streamed. We still don't know that at this time. Okay. But what we do know, I seem like I got to connect inside the courtroom. Come on to the stage. Come on to the stage. Not guilty brothers. Listen to what they say. Here we go.
Accused of hearing and motion for new trial is scheduled back to back next week, August 19th through and August 20th at 8:30 in Collin County. We will be in the building bright and early. We plan on going live. We plan on asking questions, talking to people, just laying our eyes on and getting the feel on what's really going on in this Karmelo Anthony case. So y'all can check into, we should be live on YouTube, Facebook, every platform that we could go live on. We plan to go live on. We look forward to Russell Wilson and his team putting on a good argument for Karmelo Anthony, why this judge Roach should be recused and why the case should be granted for a motion for new trial. Again, send us your questions, email us your questions. We want to answer whatever questions you may have about the Karmelo Anthony case and whatever legal question you may just have about general criminal law. We want to be able to answer that. Drew, what are you looking forward to most in going to the Karmelo Anthony motion hearings next week?
Some answers, man. Hopefully some kind of resolution. You know, although I need you guys to remember, this is the first step of the appeals process. This isn't the appeals process. This is the first step of the appeals process. So I believe Wednesday, you have the recusal hearing, right? That's going to be presided over by another judge. And then the following day, you have the motion for new trial hearing. And I believe that's going to be Judge Roach, ain't it?
If he's not recused.
If he's not recused, it's going to be Judge Roach.
It'll be Judge Roach.
You know, the Anthony family has asked the community to come support, has asked you guys to be present. I think that's very important. You know, just even if you got to sit in the overflow room, man, come on out here and see how this stuff is going on, see what's going on in the world, because you know, it's different when you're there and the atmosphere and it's going on and you just hearing what somebody got to say about it. You know, so if you are truly a supporter of Karmelo getting justice, then we'll see you Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, one of the key contentions that the appeals team has brought up in their motion for new trial and motion to recuse Judge Roach is the fact that he limited the public's access to the trial. If this is supposed to be a fair and transparent process, why did he shut down the access to how many people could be in the courtroom? He didn't have an overflow room. He didn't allow the cameras in. He knew that this was going to be a highly publicized and contentious case, but he limited the people's ability to know what was really going on. And I've seen that this week, the appeals team, Russell Wilson and his team subpoenaed the court's media guy. Now, why a court need a media guy, I don't even know, but I'm sure he know all the shenanigans that the court could be up to when it comes to limiting what the public really know about what's going on. I think Russell Wilson gonna call him out and cross-examine him tough on what he was told to do by this judge to making sure the public didn't have access. That may be
come on with it. Listen. Thank you so much, brothers. Thank you so much, brothers. Hey, Sylvester, you was right on time. What's up, Rashida? How you doing, Rashida Davis? You was right on time. Don't forget about the Stoller update. So that is exactly what our two brothers, legal brothers, were talking about. As we know, last week, Karmelo Anthony new legal team, they did subpoena the media POC for the courtroom. Now, I watched, and I wish I would have had queued up Chris King video that he did about Stoller. Now, from what he said and what he's hearing, allegedly that Judge Roach and this media guy Stoller, right? I think he said they're cousins. And so if Judge, and it's not funny, y'all, it's really not funny, but sometimes what's the old saying? Sometimes you got to laugh instead of crying. That John Roach, and if he could easily do this in Collin County, Texas, just imagine how often this has went over and done in the courtroom across America. They are using, and some judge, as we're finding out and we already knew about, but this is concrete evidence in less than 75 days since Karmelo Anthony was found guilty, that John Roach has used his legal authority, his legal role, and his legal courtroom to do whatever he wanted to do to violate Karmelo Anthony legal case, his legal rights, his civil rights, his judicial rights. I mean, everything that all judges most definitely supposed to uphold, especially being a judge as a neutral party, which we already know that John Roach, he basically said with his chest less than 48 hours after Karmelo Anthony was convicted that he said basically that the jury did everything right. What? And we also heard in that infamous 18-minute video that he cared more about the witness and their testimonies and making sure that the witnesses did not change their story. You don't have to believe me. Just go out and listen to that 18-minute video that came exactly out of John Roach's mouth. He cared more about the witnesses because they were minors, and he didn't want none of them to change their testimony. Well, how did you know what their testimony was? Because who was going to threaten the minors? Nobody knew who they were. Even the police record had all of the names redacted. So who was going to know who these minors were? I'm pretty sure they came in the back of the courthouse. They only had 27 seats total for the public to be in there. That's against Karmelo Anthony, Sixth Amendment. Boy, we have went through some great training and great legal information in the last 68 days. So John Roach, I think this Judge Sid Harrell, everybody, please, if you're a Christian, please start praying that Judge Sid Harrell, that's his name, does the right thing in this upcoming Wednesday. We already went over his background, his resume. Once he does the right thing, all of the dominoes will start falling down. Once Judge Roach is accused, the roaches and the rats will start scrambling, because that means that another judge will be brought in to proceed over the new trial. And the very next day, you can't tell me a new trial would not be granted, not just with Mike Howard's affidavit, bombshell affidavit, but look at the closing arguments. Look at the medical examiner's statement under oath. And then you got to take in consideration, y'all, we have to take in consideration. You have to take in consideration that the prosecution said the only evidence that he had in this case, the only evidence that the prosecution said he had in this case was the video, the distorted video. What did that show? Really ask yourself, even the trolls and the distractors in the room, what did the video show outside of the distorted piece that we could not see? Karmelo Anthony was already under the tent. We saw Hunter and Austin and his friends, they come through that tent, moving directly up to that stadium area with force, with intent. That was premeditated. That was the premeditated part of this whole entire video. And then we saw boop, 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 boop. We see a circle with Karmelo Anthony. He darts up, but we still see a lot of commotion under that tent. Karmelo Anthony's father, before I go into that part, now I'm gonna leave it right here. Karmelo Anthony's father said on the Breakfast Club is that what he saw when Austin hit Karmelo Anthony, it was so much power and force that even Eddie got swung. He got hit. He got shoved. The whole darn thing moved. The tent moved, y'all. The medical examiner talked about the force. And it was the defense attorney that started talking about these hypotheticals of how much weight, how much force would it take for a weapon to go deeper than the length of the blade. I said, whoa, what are we talking about? That's not Karmelo Anthony weapon. Karmelo Anthony blade was 3.5, and the knife only pierced only 2 inches. So what are they talking about, y'all? This is what I think they're talking about. Because all those hypotheticals, they didn't focus on what Karmelo Anthony had. They was talking about a hypothetical. How can a blade go deeper than the length of it is? And she was talking about force and force and force and about falling on something. You know, come on, what were we talking about? I still think it was 2 weapons. The same, 2 weapons and 2 wounds that Mike Howard alluded to. Now, another evidence piece that the prosecution talked about, he talked about the distorted video. He also talked about the witness testimony. He said it was evidence. To me, that was hearsay. That was hearsay. That was not evidence. That was hearsay. None of them, not one of them witnesses said that they saw Karmelo Anthony do the pinging, the poking. And even the prosecution said, now listen, that's why I gave the prosecution an 8.9 out of 10. The prosecution said, yeah, it was some inconsistencies. It was some minor inconsistencies. It was some major inconsistency. And you a prosecution saying this in closing statements, that it was inconsistencies? That's when he said, oh, but they're nice. They come from good families and they're just mistaken. But we had to put the pieces together. That's what the prosecution said. So he said that all the evidence that the prosecution brought to convict Karmelo Anthony was the video testimony. And guess what? The third piece of evidence he said he had and he presented Karmelo Anthony's own actions and the body cam. He said that's all the evidence that he had. And the prosecution even said the motive behind Karmelo Anthony actions was not important. I put it up in part 2. I put it up in part 2 that the prosecution said the motive behind the case was not important. I said, what? How can you prove premeditated M-word without the motive, without the intent? What are we talking about? Yo, what are we talking about? If John Roach has 20 years plus in because he's about to retire, right? I think he's about to get them handcuffs on him too, right? Before he even retire. He may just resign. Y'all, what if John Roach resigned this week after he gets recused from this trial, y'all? It could be some funny things happen. It could be some funny things happen. But if John Roach has about 20 years, he does have about 20 years as being in the legal system. Bill Wirskye easy has about 20, 25, looking at his appearance, easy. These are the games that they played with Karmelo Anthony, y'all. Supposed to be legal professionals. And they acted like this in the courtroom. So let me go ahead and pull up these volumes. Tony, what you say? Tony, every time you say Hunter, don't play. Listen, don't play. Listen, Hunter, don't play. Listen, don't start with me. I don't want to laugh. This is too serious. I don't want to laugh. You talking about my accent. Boy, what did Hunter Metcalf? Listen, and they want us to believe for real, y'all. They want us to believe that Karmelo Anthony, he gave up his life, 21 scholarships, 3.7 GPA. See, you don't got me thrown off. 3.7 GPA, captain of the football team, captain of the track team, right? 2 jobs, a loving family, bright, future ahead of him, a scholar athlete. And you mean to tell me for 4 minutes or less under a 10, and he was graduating the very next month, he gave that up for Austin Metcalf. Come on, Whitey, come on. This don't even make no sense. But hold on, let me go ahead and find this right here. Here we go. Let me see here. I'm gonna download. I'm gonna download 8. Let's see here. We're gonna bring up 8. I'm gonna keep that on handy. That's where the prosecution, the closing statements were. I'm gonna bring that up. 6 is where the medical examiner were under oath. She said every time I say honor. Let's see here. Let's see here. Download. Where else? All right, we're gonna download 6. That is the medical examiner. And then y'all, you know what? Let's say, hey, 5 just popped in my head. I'm gonna download 6, and then I'm gonna download 5. 5 just popped in my head, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that. Everything is loading up, loading up. But yeah, this week right here, whoo, this week right here. Nice recap, nice recap. Now we're finna go into number 5. All of the files are loading up. Let's see right here. I got them loaded. Let me see here. Number 8. Let me go ahead and bring up number 5 and share my screen. Y'all know how we do it over here. Now, let me go ahead and say this right here. I don't think I should. I didn't think I would have to say this here. But let me go ahead and tell you, for those that is probably new here watching this live, everything that I'm going to read is something that I never read before. So it's going to be some mispronunciations. It's going to be some excitement. It's going to be me misreading some of the lines because, hey, I'm reading this for the first time also. And then guess what? In my excitement and me trying to read and comprehend at the same time, I may say some things wrong. Just forgive me in my heart. I'm trying to do the best that I can reading this the very first time. And it's going to be some excitement. It's going to be some misreading. It's going to be some mispronunciations. But just know that, hey, it's okay. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. But I'm glad that you're here watching the information with me. Because, hey, who knows? Tomorrow, it could be somebody that you know. Tomorrow, it could be you. And tomorrow, it could be me. So, hey, all this information that we have discussed in 68 days after Karmelo Anthony was wrongfully convicted, trust me, this information has been so valuable. I can't speak for you, but even going through this for myself, it has been valuable for me and my family and my loved ones and my friends. Okay? So, I'm locked in. So, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. All right, 5. So let's go here. This is 5. Okay. Reporters record of volume 5 of 9. Excuse me. Court calls, Court of Appeals number. All right. Jury trial. This is June the 5th. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's see right here. Okay, Jane Duggar, this is the one. This is why I call her name. I love to put her name out in the atmosphere. So if something sounds wrong while I'm reading it, it's just know, if I'm not making a mistake or reading too fast, she put it in here. She is the one that had to transcribe all of this here. All right, so we got witnesses, Neil Adams, Eduardo. Oh, hey, this the cop. This is the cop. This is the arresting cop for Karmelo Anthony, okay? Then you got Jacob. He's also another cop. Shaz, Stephanie Martin, redacted, and redacted. So I feel like, and y'all see this right here is 347 pages. 4 is long, 5 is long. This is my first time peeking into 5. So we're gonna keep pushing. Now, here we go here. Witness. I want to go to the arresting cop. I want to see exactly what he says. That's going to be about 20 pages, but I'm going to see if we get through it. And also, I want to go and talk to one of the witnesses. Let me see if I can see a small. This is also about 20 pages, so we can peek in there. We could go ahead and peek in there. Let me go ahead and get some water real quick because y'all, I don't know what's in here. This was randomly selected, and hey. But let's get to it. Let's get to it. I need this. All right, Vestas, let me go ahead. And let's start reading what Officer Cortez said. under oath in Collins County on June the 5th, 2026. Okay, let's see here. There we go. All right, let me get my screen ready. Let me move this over a little bit more. I'll put myself right here. Here we go. But yeah, Stoller, from what I'm also hearing from Chris King, he said that Stoller is actually a cousin or related to John Roach, which is why all the way from Florida. And if that right there is true, if that is true, Stoller, y'all, what if the media guy Stoller does not appear in court? What if he's on the run? You know, it would be a bench warrant. It'll be a bench warrant for Collins County Judge Roach, media person, if he don't show up to court. That's gonna put a dagger in this whole entire thing. If the media man does not appear in court to be cross-examined across a question from Karmelo Anthony legal team. Okay. I got my cocktail, I got my vest last night. Okay, I'm good. How are you? I'm excited for the 19th and the 20th. Yes. Also, I want to show you this right here. So while the brothers was talking, I just happened to scroll down to the next page and look at this, y'all. Exhibit index, reporter's notes, anything with a star, the notes for record purposes only. Okay. So we got 23, 24. Look at this. Box with a weapon. Once again, they did not bring the actual weapon to court. They didn't bring the actual weapon to court because they say they didn't want to be they didn't want to have to deal with putting on gloves to handle the actual poker. But did they not know that they can leave it inside of the plastic bag like all the other cases? Even for the OJ trial, the weapon was left in the bag sealed. But we already know about the secret agreement behind the scenes. Okay, and then this right here, it says this. I'm pretty sure this is the weapon that we all know. Backpack photos, 911 call, body cam. So this is why this document is probably so long. But I still, for the record, star means the notes for record purposes only. And that's 75, which was the 911 call. 77, which is the body cam. And also the demonstration with the poker. Okay. All right. What was page? What did that? It started on page. Here we go. Page 22. Okay. Easy find. All right, here we go. 30. Okay, I just passed it. So let's just see what Officer Cortez says on page 22. All right, here we go. All right, Mr. Wilkie, thank you, Your Honor. Eduardo Cortez have been first duly sworn, testified as following. Direct examination by Mr. Wilkie. Officer, can you turn to the jury and introduce yourself? He said, my name is Eduardo Cortez, police officer, school resource officer for FISCO PD. Okay, how old a man are you? Excuse me? How old are you? 45. Okay. Oh God, we already messing up. God. Okay, where were you born and raised? Locally. Louisville, Texas, born and raised. All right. Before you went into law enforcement, did you have a job as a salesperson? Now, going back to, and it just came to my case, my mind, going back to what Officer Cortez said also in part 2 and part 3, is that whatever weapon Karmelo Anthony had, because they didn't call it a knife, they called it a Leatherman. It was not legal to take that have on his persons. Okay, so my memory is coming back. Hold on. Okay, before you went into law enforcement, did you have a job as a salesman? Yes, sir. How long did you stay in that line of work? 9 years. Do you also have a stint in the United States Marine Corps Reserve? Yes, sir. Tell us about it. Joined in 2000, went to San Diego for boot camp. After graduating boot camp, I was stationed in the Joint Reserve Base in Fort Worth. That's Dallas. My MOS was supply administration. So I did that for 6 years and got out in 2026. So we're talking about exactly 20 years ago. Okay. At some point back around 2014, did you kind of turn your attention or thinking about going into law enforcement? Yes, sir, in 2014. Okay, tell the members of the jury about that. So I needed a career change. Law enforcement was something that I needed to pursue for some time. I'm sorry, let me slow down. Law enforcement was something I wanted to pursue for some time. It just wasn't, the timing wasn't right for me trying to make ends meet with my family. So that jump wasn't at the right time earlier in my life. So I finally decided to do it at the age of 32. So that means he's been an officer for at least about 13 years. Started with the Allen Police Department here in Texas, in city of Allen. They put me through the academy, and I was there for about 2 years before getting an opportunity with the FISCO Police Department in 2016, when I started with them. July is when I started in 2016. So if I could kind of go into the FISCO Police Department part of it, question. Yeah, the judge is strictly for questions and answers. So could you go into the FISCO department side of it? Sure. So I'm thinking it could have been some redaction in here, because it just, unless he cut him off. And we already know that the prosecutor, Bill Wirskye, he did cut off the medical examiner when she actually was going to go into the details of that case. Vestas, do y'all remember that? She was about to talk about the case, and then the prosecutor, Bill Wirskye, jumped in and kind of redirected the whole entire conversation about unique numbers and all of that. I said, oh, I saw what he did. So here we go. Sure, thank you. Absolutely. In 2016, I was given an opportunity to be with the FISCO Police Department. I went through their field training and started on patrol. So I was a patrol officer for 5 years before becoming a school resource officer. I was a field training officer for 1 year as well with the FISCO Police Department. So in 2022 of January, I have been a school resource officer for Stanley Middle School. Okay. Oh, that's the middle school that was opposite of the stadium. Because remember they said that the police were already at the middle school because somebody had called the police on the Metcalf twins because they was bullying a girl over there at the middle school. Okay, so gotcha. Okay, he's painting the picture. Okay, so he's been over there for at least about 4 years. He said July, so yeah, about 4 years. Okay, gotcha. Okay. And I think the jury has heard, but Stanley is very close to the stadium. Is that true? Correct? He said, yes, sir. Okay, so I got it. I was right about that. Let's keep going. Mr. Wirskye, Your Honor, he says, Your Honor, may I approach the witness? It may become necessary. The court says, yes, sir. Question being, officer, let me show you this aerial. Talking about a photo. You have seen it before. Stated exhibit number 1. You recognize this is an aerial shot of Kukendall. That's the stadium name. That's how I pronounce it. Yes, sir, I do. Okay. Now, I don't think it is captured on this aerial, but can you give me can you give the members of the jury an idea of where Stanley is? Okay, sure. And I will stand, for that. So Stanley is going to be south of the stadium. The entrance into Kendall Stadium is right there on the southwest side. So, question. So, it is just off the bottom of the state exhibit number 1. Yes, that's correct. Yes. You have told me previously you thought you had a good skill set to be a school resource officer. Yes, sir. Why is that? My upbringing primarily and the way I was raised. Sorry, a little too loud. My life experience as well. You know, I didn't go into it as a young man per se, although 32 is not necessarily old, but my upbringing, primarily the way I carry myself, I felt that I was going to, be able to easily transition into that role and serve the community, whichever community that may be. It started with Allen and then went to Frisco. Got it. So I was confident going into it that I would have used good judgment in my line of work. And it is not just me, tooting my own horn and patting myself on the back, because I don't like to do that. You ask anybody who ever worked with me and knows me, they wouldn't disagree. Question. So it sounds like you found your place in the law enforcement world. Is that correct? He says, yes, sir. And you said you've been at Stanley for how many years? 4 years and about 5 months. Got it. Math on point. Okay. Since January. Oh, he says January instead of July. January of 2022 when I started at Stanley. Okay. And I question. And I know a lot of students come and go. And we've talked. You don't necessarily know them well, but you were aware of the Metcalf twins. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So that means that the officer that arrested Karmelo Anthony, so now we have a perspective on why things could have happened the way it happened. This arresting officer for Karmelo Anthony knew the Metcalf twins now. Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, here we go. And what do you remember about them? This is what he says. Let's read this very slow. I don't have a lot of involvement with my redacted as a school resource officer. There is times that you have to look into things and investigate, but nothing on my end I had to look into. Okay. The beginning was odd, but okay. All right. You just knew them as athletes. He says, yes, sir. Okay. Let's turn everybody's attention to Wednesday, April the 2nd, the day of the poking at Kukendall. Did you get a call that came out over the radio? He said, yes, sir, over the radio. Where were you and how did this occur? Okay. So I was in my office there at Stanley Middle School and I heard the call over the police portable radio. And then as soon as I heard the call at Kukendall Stadium, I left my office and I proceeded to the main entrance of the exit entrance of Stanley. Let me stop you right there. So this is the prosecution. Let me stop you right there. Do y'all have different calls or different codes that come out on the police record? No. Okay, maybe I watch too much TV. The same TV that the prosecution brought up to the medical examiner saying that, oh, the reenactments is very dangerous. No. In the crime, for any crime, it's supposed to be seen reenactment. But I know what you tried to do there, prosecution Bill Wirskye. But yeah, you do watch too much TV because y'all thought that y'all could railroad Karmelo Anthony. No holds bars, but we shall see here, huh? Okay, maybe I watched too much TV. What was the call? A blanking call at Kukendall Stadium, okay? And you knew you were close. He said, yes, sir. And you used a police word, proceeded. But did you run to Stanley from Kukendall? He says, yes, sir. And the jury has seen. So you were running up towards State Exhibit 1, up towards the north right. He says, correct. And you were running towards this call. What do you remember? Here we go. This is from the perspective of the arresting officer. The notes provided over the radio from dispatch, which was a poking. An athlete was poked, and a description of the suspect. As you was running towards the poking, are people running away? As I ran across the parking lot for Stanley Middle School and entered into the stadium on the south side entrance, if I can describe what I see there, sure. So as soon as I entered, just like on the picture there, the south side gate that was open, there is a set of concession stands, restrooms, and the press box above that. And then the south end bleachers that are facing me but away, so I can't see the bleachers. But all of that is there in front of me. So I enter the southwest entrance and I'm going straight, which would be east, as y'all can see in the picture there. From there, if I may, sure. There is two, and I determined them to be high school age students that I got my information from. What happened? Do y'all know anything? What did y'all see? And they provided that the victim was on the north end bleachers under the memorial tent. Let me stop you right there. So this the prosecutor. Two students you talked to, one was a male, one was a female. He says, yes, sir. So what happened next? He said, so blank redacted. And if you will look on the picture, there is a grassy area. So basically a downward slope hill that's where I continue on foot running. And as I make my way down the slope, I look over to the north side stadium or bleachers. I'm sorry, I could see the memorial tent, and I saw a crowd of folks underneath the tent. So my objection at that point was to continue down that slope, knowing the description that I had of the suspect, to try and locate the suspect and or provide any assistance to our victim. Gotcha. Were you ultimately able to locate the suspect? He said, yes, sir. Come on with it. Tell us about it. So as I continue down the hill, along there is a sidewalk area and a fence that divides the track and stadium area. So I am running along that sidewalk area. As I'm making my way towards the bleachers, right before I actually entered into the bleacher area, there is a gentleman. There's a gentleman, an adult, on the track side of the field. Okay, and what happened next? That gentleman points out to me, just as to my left or to his left, saying, that's our blank, that's the suspect. Once you heard that, what did you do? I looked at his clothing, okay, and it was a dark sweatshirt, dark color sweatpants. And I had the suspect raise his hands in the air, and I gave him instructions. I had him walk over to me because of the fence that divides myself where I was standing and where he was. Question, let me stop you right there. When you first made contact with the person you later came to know as Karmelo Anthony, there was a fence separating you, right? He said, yes, sir. And you had to walk to an opening, correct? Correct. Okay. Tell us about that. So as I called our suspect towards me, I gave him some instructions. I gave him blank. I patted him down for any pokers, any weapons. We walked together. I had given him instructions to walk along with me along the fence line until there was a break opening in the fence. And I had him come over through the fence. So he is now on my side away from the track. And at this point, he completely cooperated with your commands. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Now, does this sound right here? Once again, does this sound like somebody here that wanted to get away from the scene, that wanted to run away from the scene, that wanted to hide from law enforcement's, what's this seem like somebody that was very cooperative? He says, yes, sir. Premeditated murder, huh? Okay. At this point, he was completely cooperative with your commands. Is that correct? He said, yes, sir. He said, did he try to run away from you? This is the officer talking, Officer Cortez, okay? He says, no, sir. And as you're sprinting over from Stanley, did you turn on your body-worn camera? He says, yes, sir. Do you always wear a body-worn camera? I do, yes. So the events we are discussing are captured on your tape, right? He said, that is correct. What's the next thing that happened? I continue to give him instructions. I have him redacted, place his hands behind his back, and I placed him in handcuffs, but detained at that point. Okay. And once you got him detained, do you jump up on the radio? He said, yes, sir. Why do you do that? I need to relay information to our dispatch and other officers that are arriving on the scenes. We'll see it just in a few minutes, but do you remember what you put out on the radio? He said, yes, sir. I called out to my radio number and I advised him that I have the alleged suspect detained in handcuffs. Okay. Do you also give word to dispatch to slow down to the other responding officers? He said, yes, sir. Why do you do that? For safety purposes. You know, when we got a call like that, officers are going to be, arriving as fast as possible. And, the speed that they are probably going to be going is a little bit more than the speed limit. So at that point, I determined that this seemed a little bit more in control with at least the suspect being detained, that those officers that are preceding me can kind of minimize their speed a little bit and arrive in a little bit more safer fashion. Okay. In your role as an officer, in your role as an officer that first put him in handcuffs and detained him, is that your job to question the suspect? He says, no, sir. Okay. Did you have any intentions of questioning him that morning? He says, no. In fact, did you ask him one single question? He says, no. But he talked, didn't he? He said, yes, sir. Now, you have told us you put out, I have the alleged suspect in custody. Did he say something right after that? He said, yes, sir. All right, hold your horses, y'all. Now, remember, this is a partial transcript. This is a partial transcript. We don't have the full transcript. So everybody just brace. I don't know what's about to come out in this. Okay. Yes, sir. Tell the members of the jury what this is. I am not alleged. I did it. Okay. I didn't expect for it to come that soon. Did he also start to describe the version of events? He did. What did he say? He put his hands on me. I told him not to. And this is all captured on your body cam camera. He said, yes, sir. And the last part of the statement is, I told him not to. Is that what he told you? Yes, sir. Okay. In your belief then, and in your belief now, is when I told him not to, he was referring to the victim in this case, Officer Metcalf. Is that right? Officer Cortez says yes. At that point, does an officer comes up, Officer Ricky. Okay. Yes, sir. Does she has a body worn camera? So this is the female officer. She does. Once she comes up, what do y'all do with Karmelo Anthony? We stand him up and we escort him to her squad car, which was just on the east side of the stadium. So she was the first officer, I guess, that was on patrol. Question, answer, yes, sir. That came to me. Question, were you the first on the scene, but she was first with the car? Yes, sir. Okay. Is he continuing to make some statements during this period, this 4 minutes? As we were escorting him, yes. Did he ever ask about the victim? When we placed him in the squad car, he asked if he was going to be okay. Did you respond? More, just, I don't know. And in fact, you didn't know, did you? Answer, I didn't know. You knew they were working on him, but you had no knowledge. He says no knowledge. At some point after you had him handcuffed, do you notice any injury on his hands? Yes, sir. Tell us about it. There was a little bit of blood on his left middle finger. Okay. Did you know at the time whether it was connected to the actual poking or whether it was something he sustained when he slipped and fell, making his getaway? No, I had no idea where it came from. Y'all, hold on, break. This is our first time reading this. Remember, we always speculate that Karmelo Anthony had got that little pinch on his finger by slipping and falling on the bleachers. Well, why the prosecutor? He said the same thing. I think even they know that Karmelo Anthony sustained that little cut on his finger when he slipped and fell. Because the prosecution know, but we didn't know this. Okay. No, I had no idea where it came from. And you and I have listened to your body worn camera, and I believe you told me, in fact, when you were to write your report, you had to really listen closely. Correct. Yes, sir. You couldn't hear some of what Karmelo Anthony was saying, correct? He said correct. So that's how they spliced up that video. Y'all, this is how they spliced up the body cam video. They took everything, I'm going to say, the noise in the body cam, since it wasn't legible. Y'all, they sliced up the video to make the words that the officer could hear that was audible. They sliced up the video. Man, come on. He just said, listen. He just said you couldn't hear some of what Karmelo Anthony said. Correct. So that means that what we heard on the body cam, that was not all of Karmelo Anthony words. He just didn't clearly said I'm not alleged I did it. What are we talking about? What are we? Splicing videos, editing videos. You take out all of the garble and you just give a complete sentences. Y'all stop playing with, come on, stop playing with us. Come on, he just said, and you and I have listened to your body worn camera, and I believe you told me, in fact, when you went to write your report, you had to listen you had to really listen closely. Correct? Yes, sir. You couldn't hear some of what Karmelo Anthony was saying, correct? Now, what if Karmelo Anthony was saying in that body cam, they tried to jump me? They tried to jump me. It was more than them. It was more than them. Y'all, this right here is... What if Karmelo Anthony also said, but somebody else had poked him. Somebody else poked him too. What if Karmelo Anthony was saying all of this stuff that they're saying that they couldn't really hear? What if Karmelo Anthony was saying everything on the body cam? They came up to me, they pushed me, they grabbed my book back. Same thing that Hunter said. If you want to know where I got that from, Hunter said that. We came up to him, Austin, we grabbed his book bag, Austin pushed him. What if Karmelo Anthony was saying all this and saying, hey, but also it was another fight under the tent. Something else was going on. Something else was going on. Whoa, hey, something else was happening. What if Karmelo Anthony was trying to tell that police officer, hey, something else happened after whatever happened with him and Austin? He could have said, hey, he even failed on it. He could have said, Austin failed on my Leatherman. So they just said, hey, they just said that everything that Karmelo Anthony had said on the body cam was not captured. All right. Volume 5. But you and I went back and watched Officer Rico's body cam that covers the same period of time. Her audio was better. Y'all listen to this, y'all. Yes, okay. And you were there when all of this happened. That is correct, sir. Okay. At this point, you transporting him down to the Frisco Police Department. Okay, so hold on. Okay, we got a problem in Frisco. We got a problem in Frisco County with a body cam. So you mean to tell me that the prosecution just stated that Officer Ricky body cam caught audio that the arresting officer body cam did not get, which Officer Cortez. So what's wrong with y'all footage? What's wrong with y'all audio? What's wrong with your video? Because if her body cam caught everything or a little bit more than what Karmelo Anthony said, Officer Cortez, was your body cam volume turned down a little bit because you knew the Austin Metcalf twins? Now, I didn't put it in Officer Cortez's mouth. He said that he knew of the Metcalf twins. And I want to raise the question at 1 hour and 7 minutes, how did Officer Ricky's body cam microphone capture more than what the arresting officer body cam microphone caught? Okay. Hold on. We raising questions. We asking the right questions. You know why? Because it is us that make up the jury pool. It is us that make up the jury pool. 90% or more of all defendants, they decide to have a trial by jury. It is the common U.S. citizen that makes up the jury pool. And if I was on the jury pool, I would be saying, why didn't the arresting officer microphone pick up what Officer Ricky's microphone picked up? What's wrong with the equipment? What is wrong with the equipment? What is wrong with the equipment? Why the equipment is not up to standard? So all of the equipment is not calibrated before you go out, before you actually hit the clock, report to duty. Nobody checks their equipment in Collins County. Now we got an issue with the equipment. Hold on, y'all. Now we got an issue with the equipment in Collins County. I'm sorry, Collin County. Let's see him. Body camera microphone. Okay, got it. That is correct. All right. Any incident during transport? He says no incident at all. He says no incident at all. Now, why are they not talking about the hysterical crying that Karmelo Anthony, that we also witnessed with Karmelo Anthony? Why nobody's talking about that? But maybe that's redacted. Maybe that's redacted. Okay. And once you drop them off to the jail, to your jail staff there at FISCO, and make arrangements for his clothes to be taken into evidence, is your role pretty much over? Yes, that would be correct. Hold on. And that, in fact, what did you, is that right? Hold on. Did I read that right? Yes, that would be correct. And that's, in fact, what you did. Okay. Is that right? He said, that's right. Okay. Now I want to start looking at some video. And I think the first one is state number 6, which we will switch over and show you this. Mr. Mitchell, permission to publish. The court. Yes, sir. And I believe this footage would show you responding to Stanley running towards the poking. You're going slow there down the hill, right? Yes, that is correct. That's a pretty sharp hill, and it was wet, right? That's correct. It was wet. Pause. Why didn't the prosecution at that time, when he was talking about Karmelo Anthony clothes taken into evidence, why they didn't discuss, was there any evidence, or did the let me rephrase that. If the prosecution asked the arresting officer about the little bit of blood on Karmelo Anthony's finger, why didn't he ask him about the lack of blood, or if there was any blood on Karmelo Anthony's clothes? Why not? Let's keep going. Okay, that's correct. It was right. Let me stop you right there. Mr. Wirskye says, could you stop the video? If I don't ask, you're going to get asked. How do you, oh, here we go again with this weather thing. How would you describe the raining that morning? It was a pretty steady rain throughout the morning, so the ground was wet. Okay, drizzly, raindrops, heavy downpour. We've heard a lot of words, and I would like you to pick your own word to best describe it. Drizzly initially, and then towards the end, it kind of came down a little heavier, y'all. We could tell by some of the pictures captured at the crime scene. When you see the memorial tent, you can tell that it was a downpour in the area, because you still got those dark clouds in the sky where you could tell it was a hard down rain. They don't think that we even watch the weather, y'all. We can tell by the sky that it was not a light drizzle. We could tell that it was a hard downpour rain. Let's keep going. Why do I keep talking about this weather thing? Okay, fair enough. Let's continue. States exhibit number 6. At this point, it looks like you're running to the memorial tent. Is that correct? That's correct. And then you get told there is your suspect. That's correct. And you see the suspect in states number 6 right here with his hands up. Yes. And you two are separated at the fence, correct? Let's watch this just a few moments, not seconds. Now, let me tell you one thing. If Karmelo Anthony took all of the trolls and the distractors after they watched that video, they said he was running away. He was running away from the crime scene. If there is a fence separating a 17-year-old track star, and if he wanted to get away, he would have been got away, because remember, going back to the arrest record, it took the officers 45 minutes to even get to the stadium, even though the middle school was right there. Pause. If Karmelo Anthony wanted to get away, even on foot or in his car, because remember, he drove there, right? Or he had his car key. So let's just say, it was a visiting stadium. He didn't drive there. Okay, Karmelo Anthony didn't drive there, but he still had his book bag. He still had his phone. I forgot it was broken by the Hunter twins, but he still had his book bag. Nah, I forgot. In premeditated murder, Karmelo Anthony was a foolish criminal by leaving his book bag. This is what I'm trying to put it, make it sense, because it's still not making sense. Okay, so Karmelo Anthony, in the heat of the moment, he dropped, according to them, he dropped the weapon, right? Okay, he left his book bag in a premeditated stage, M-word. Premeditated stage, M-word. And being a track star, because he was the captain of the team, being a track star, and based off of his pounds and his height at 5'8", 130 or 160, he was definitely a sprinter. And if he wasn't a sprinter, the worst case scenario would be a long distant runner, because with a long distant runner, actually it takes more strength and muscle to go long distance versus the sprints. So that means Karmelo Anthony in 4 to 5 minutes could have got a mile away from the stadium. If he really wanted to do this to get away from the crime scene. But where did Karmelo Anthony run to with his 5'8", 130, 160 frame? Where did Karmelo Anthony run to? Karmelo Anthony ran to with his 5'8", 130, 160 frame. He ran to the first adult that he saw to get help, to try to tell what happened. He did not use his 5'8", 130, 160 frame to get away from the school setting, the stadium, wherever he was. He didn't even leave the track. He didn't even leave inside of the fence. He didn't even leave outside of the fence. He ran to the very first adult. Let's keep going. Correct. Let's watch this for a few more seconds. And you still have the fence between you. See what I'm saying? This is what I was trying to say. Even with the fence between him and the officer, Karmelo Anthony could have took off in another direction. Karmelo Anthony, even with the cop, he could have took off in the other direction. At Karmelo Anthony height and speed, Karmelo Anthony could have booked it even before the cop got there. And when the cop got there, he could have took for a split second and ran the other way to get out. Remember, y'all, he came from underneath the stadium, y'all. It was more than one ways to get in and out of the stadium. What we talking about? What are we talking about? And right now, you are able to actually put handcuffs on him. He said, that's right. Is it part of your normal procedure? And did you do this that day? Did you pat him down for weapons? He said, yes, I pat him down for weapons. And I assume you didn't find a knife. He said, no, sir. He said, I believe the members of the jury will see Officer Ricky run up here in just a few seconds. Is that Officer Ricky? I'm gonna say Ricky. Yes, sir, that's correct. Also, okay. I think that's it for state number 6. That's it? Are you serious? That's it? That's it? You're not asking the arresting officer anything else? Officer Cortez, let me show you just 2 photos real quick before we watch the body cam. Okay, I thought it was already watching the body cam. These have been marked for identification as State Exhibit 69 and ask you if there's a depiction of the injury on Karmelo Anthony's finger that morning. Yes. And it was actually taken in the back of Officer Ricky's patrol car. Is that right? Yes, sir, that's right. And then finally, let me show you State Exhibit 73. And that copy is blurry. Okay. I think it's going to show up better on the screen. That copy is real. I need to see what's this State Exhibit 73. But do you recognize that's a do you recognize that as some signage out at Kendall Stadium? He says yes. Mr. Wirskye, Your Honor, at this time we will offer State Exhibit 69 and 73. Howard, no objection, Your Honor. The court, 69 and 73 are both admitted. Mr. Wirskye, permissions for counsel to publish to the jury. Do you see State 69 up there, officer? Yes, sir. You have got it on your monitor. You have got it on your monitor, said yes. And it is the injury we discussed earlier. That it looks like a cut on his blank. I don't know. Left middle finger. Is that fair? They said fair. And you documented that, right? Yes, sir. Just in case it becomes important as a piece of evidence. Is that right? Just in case it became an important piece of evidence. Is that correct? Is that right? Yes, that is right. And you sit here today, do you know the importance or the lack of importance of that injury in this case? Yes, what is it? Mr. Howard said, objection to speculation. Okay, Mr. Howard. Okay, he did speculate. He did object to something. The court, yes, sustained. All right. The jury will hear about that a little later. That is true. Yeah, hey, if the officer didn't know, hey, he had no business to give his opinion on the matter. All right, the jury will hear about that a little later. Let me show you the photograph of the signage outside of Kendall. And while we wait for that to come up, as a school resource officer for a number of years, are you familiar with the weapons policy at FISCO ISD? Okay, here we go. Yes, sir. Can you tell us about that? Weapons are prohibited on any school ground property. Watch this, y'all. I'm assuming this is where it is. Okay. And 73 just came up on the monitor. Yes, sir. Is that the signage that exists at Kendall? At Kendall at the main gate? Yes. Is it a secret to anyone connected with the school district that you can't have weapons at school events? Hold on. Let me read this. Is it any secret to anyone connected with the school district that you can't have weapons at school events? He said no. A question, reflecting back to the poking, I believe you told me one of the things that was most shocking to you was the fact that the student brought a blank to the track meet. Yes, sir. Unprecedented, correct. Something you never encountered, never. Something you were expected never to encounter, never. All right, let me see if I can do this correctly with so many thumb drives. Do you see these thumb drives I have laid out, officer? Yes. Yes, sir. And they were marked for identification as state exhibit number 77, state exhibit number 77 alpha, state exhibit number 78, and the state exhibit number 78 alpha. And you and I have watched these videos, and I will just represent to you that this is your full body camera, and then a snippet of your body cam, and then the same thing with Officer Ricky, the full body cam, and then a snippet of hers. Yes, sir. Okay, Judge, at this time, for the record only, we will offer states exhibit 77 and 78, both admitted. All right. And at this time, for all purposes, would we offer 77 and 78, no objection? Okay, are permitted for all purposes. Permission to publish states 77 alpha, your honor. Court says granted. Officer, this should be your body cam. And as we talked about it, the audio is a little bit low. Oh, I just said it. Didn't I just say that his audio was low? I'm pretty sure when he found out that it was one of the twins that he knew about, he turned down that body cam, that little button. He turned down that dial a little bit. So my thing is, once again, Frisco County, regarding your officers' equipment, especially your body cam, what is the policy on the audio, the microphone level that your officers should maintain that microphone level at? That's a question. It's just a question. Officer, this should be your body cam. And as we talked about it, the audio is a little bit low on yours. Is that correct? He says, yes, sir. Does your body cam automatically activate, or do you have to think quickly as you're running towards the stabbing and activate it yourself? I have to think quickly and activate it myself. I thought the body cams automatically activate when you go on duty. I thought you have to turn it on one time and leave it on until the end of your duty, but I could be wrong. I know in some states that body cam is on 20, the whole duration of your duty. Okay, I have to think quickly and activate it myself, and that's in fact what you did that morning, right? Yes, sir. And I think and I think this is about the 4-minute clip of your body cam. Does that look familiar to you? Yes, sir. All right. Do you recognize your Red Wing? What we talking about? Yes, Mr. Wiki. Okay, let's go ahead and play. Watching the body cam, is that how you remember it? Yes. And you and Officer Ricky are walking him down. You hear some blank, I don't know, blank, sobbing, crying. As far as his demeanor, do you recall that? We just saw that. I do, yes. By the time you got him into the car a few seconds later. He seemed calm, cool, and collected. Did he not? Man, come on, y'all. Y'all spliced out the video. Come on, y'all. Y'all spliced out the video. Did you not? Correct. He was able to answer your questions without sobbing or crying. At that, y'all, they playing, y'all. So the prosecution is lining up his line of questioning with the edited body cam, because the reason why I say it's edited, because when Karmelo Anthony is arrested, right, and walked to the car, you can see where it's different. His voice is sobbing, then all of a sudden it goes calm, cool, and collected. Now it's a piece in there, y'all. It's a piece because the officer, man, y'all, come on. Correct. He was able to answer your question without sobbing or crying. Ain't no way nobody go from hysterical crying to calm and cool, collect just like that. Stop playing, y'all. He's matching his line of questioning with the video. Okay. And he told you he was a senior at Sentinel, didn't he? Say yes. When you arrest a young man like this, are you worried about whether he's 17 or older? Yes. Tell the members of the jury why we worry about it in this business. If someone is 17 or older, 17, you are considered an adult, and you can be taken into custody and taken to the FISCO police department. So if you're under 16 and under, you're considered a juvenile. So we can't process you in the same facility. It is a separate one for juveniles. So Texas law considers young men who are 17 old enough to be treated as responsible adults. That is correct. That is correct. I noticed you didn't. No, I noticed you didn't. He didn't have a book bag with him, did he? No, he didn't. And I think I asked you earlier, but he didn't have a blank, didn't he? He said no. All right. Let's go back and watch a shorter snippet of Officer Ricky's body cam, 78 Alpha. I believe her audio is a little bit better on the initial statement. While we wait for that to queue up, the statement he made that we discussed earlier, I told him not to. You can hear that pretty clearly on your body cam, can't you? He says yes. Okay, let's watch 78 Alpha. Was it slightly easier to hear that I'm not the alleged suspect? I did it on Officers Ricky's. So you mean to tell me that body cam video that we saw, they took two different police audio body cams and they put them together? You see Karmelo Anthony walking with Officer Cortez, but you hear the audio from Officer Ricky's body cam. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this up. Okay. You can't make this stuff up. Okay. Yes. And you never asked him any further questions, did you? He said, no, sir. Thank you, Officer Cortez. I would pass the witness. Mike Howard's cross-examination. Here we go. Mike Howard's cross-examination. It took 20 minutes to read Officer Cortez testimony on the oath. He was painting and planting in the minds of the court, the judge, the juries, and altered videos full of lies. I also heard, I think it was Dwayne, on one of those Lakeisha videos. I'm assuming it was around the 4th of July, if it was Dwayne or maybe it was the bishop. But one of them said that the prosecutor was painting the picture for the jury instead of laying out the evidence. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Either the bishop or Dwayne said that the prosecution was painting the picture for the jury because the video was distorted. I said, where they do that at? We shall see. Listen, and then also, once this new trial is granted, right? And hopefully by now, I'm going to say the new legal team, even though they haven't probably made it publicized yet, or public, right? I would have already subpoenaed the original crystal clear 8K, 4K video. Subpoena. I'm pretty sure they have already subpoenaed the crystal clear video. Had to be. Get back, okay? Cross-examination. All right, Mike Howard. Okay, Officer Cortez, my name is Mike Howard. I'm going to have some questions for you, okay? Yes, sir. If you have any trouble hearing me or understanding me, just let me know. He says, sure. So were you, as we can see, the first officer to arrive on the scene to identify Karmelo Anthony? He says, yes, sir. And I want to talk first a little bit about your training. Okay, sure. Okay, Mike Howard, going straight into it. So when you train to become a police officer, you go through the initial training period, correct? He says, correct. At the Academy, Police Academy. And they train you in everything you're going to need to know to be an officer one day, right? Hold on. Okay, let's see here. And they train you in everything you are going to need to know to be an officer day one, right? Fair, yes. And some of that is what you were doing in the field, correct? Training in the field, correct. And then some of that is documented. What happened in the report in the oh, damn, he jumped straight to it. Hold on. Mike Howard jumped straight to it. Hold on. And they train you in everything you are doing. You are going to know, you need to know to be an officer one day. Fair, yes. And some of that is what you do in the field, correct? Training in the field, correct. And then some of that is documenting what happens in the record, in the incident record. Is that correct? He says yes. And so it is important to document everything that you come across. Is that correct? He says that's correct. Mike Howard finna go to the jugular. Mike Howard is finna go to the jugular. And hopefully. And it is important to document correctly. That is correct. Everything Mike Howard is saying is correct. The devil's in the details is in the documentation. That's correct. And it's important to document everything that correctly. Correct. Is it important for the investigation? Correct. Oh, he's just giving Mike Howard straight answer words. And it's important to document that correctly. Correct. Is it important for the investigation? Correct. Is it important for fairness? Sure. And you take that very seriously. Is that fair? He says, yes, sir. So you made an incident report in this. Oh, he went straight to the jugular. Hold on, y'all. So you made an incident report in this case that then goes later to the detective as part of the larger kind of offense report. He says, yes. And everything you document in that report was accurate. Is that fair? He said, that's fair. Oh, y'all. Okay, hold on. Okay, so going back to what we just saw in your redacted, in the snippet of your body cam is significantly longer. Is that fair? I told y'all, we already know we didn't see the whole entire body cam. We know we didn't see the whole entire body cam. That body cam should have been more than 4 minutes, but let me keep going. He's going to say, yes. The video starts from where you turn it on and it plays continuously as you take Melo to the car, put him in, and then you move about all the way until you get him to the jail. Is that fair? He says fair. Oh, my power. Hold on. We haven't seen all that, but that's what in the full body cam, Mike Howard. Oh, Mike Howard. Hold on. Mike Howard said, we haven't seen all that, but that's what's in the full body cam. He says, yes. Oh, they already talking about video slicing and editing. Yes. When you first arrive and you point towards Melo, he's standing with a coach. Is that correct? He says, yes. I didn't identify that person. I wasn't if he was a coach or not at the time. Fair. And I appreciate that. You are not making assumptions. So he's standing with a person. He says, yes. When you arrive, did that person have his arms around Melo, like embracing him, or have his arms on his shoulder? I don't recall. You don't recall one way or the other. He says, I don't recall. He said, okay, fair. When redacted, it is fair to say that throughout your interaction with Melo, was he emotional? Is that fair? He says, at times. Come on, Mike Howard. You document that in your report that he blank. Well, I think you used the word he was emotional, correct? He says correct. But at the point when he made the comment, he put his hands on me, I told him not to, is when I stated in my report that he was emotional. Sure. But that's not the only time he was emotional. Fact, I told y'all they spliced up the video, and we knew that too, Vestas. We knew they got, when they released that body cam, they sliced it up the way that they wanted it to mislead the public. I said, do people really think that Karmelo Anthony, he was hysterical and crying, and all of a sudden he was calm, cool, and collected? I said so they didn't even realize where they cut out a big section of the video because it didn't flow. It didn't flow, y'all. People are, oh, come on, Mike Howard. Sure. But that's not the only time he was emotional. Fair. He says fair. Question. I mean, when you get him in the car, we haven't seen that on body cam, but there is a significant amount of time when he's sobbing. Y'all. Look at it. Look. Prosecution. This is the prosecutor judge. I'm not going to object to this if he is referring to an item that is not in evidence. It is inadmissible hearsay. Oh, prosecutor, you mean to tell me a body cam? You wanted to be deemed a body cam in it as inadmissible hearsay, but the witness testimonies, them lying witnesses you put up there back to back, all the things that they say was not hearsay, but yet you allowed that in the court, including John Roach and also the Karmelo Anthony defense team. Are you serious? This is a body cam he's talking about. Okay, here we go. The court says it is in evidence. Okay, it is for record purposes. If he wants to offer it for all purposes, he can do that, Mr. Wirskye. So this is the prosecutor. Well then, oh my gosh. Oh, Mr. Wirskye said, well, then I object to the hearsay. Whoa. How in the world is a police body cam of what Karmelo Anthony? Now, mind you, hold on. Mind you, from on this live stream, from 1 hour and 7 minutes, we read Cortez' entire account regarding the body cam footage. But now you mean to tell me Mike Howard got up here cross-examining the arresting officer, and Mr. Wirskye don't want the full body cam being talked about in court? He want to deem it as hearsay? Y'all, does this make sense? Mr. Wirskye, the prosecution, he feels like he has the right and entitled to use Karmelo Anthony body cam the way that he sees fit, but he don't want the defense to talk about the full body cam. Y'all, we all agreed when that video was released, the body cam video was released, and that distorted video that was released on the 19th of June, on Juneteenth, on purpose. Collins County thought they was laughing at us, but the joke was on them. We all knew that body cam was edited to say certain things and to mislead everybody. And now we see proof here on page 49 of volume 5, page 49 of volume 5, that Mr. Wirskye, he had an objection, and he called the full body cam for Karmelo Anthony hearsay. Then he said, well, then I object to hearsay. Ooh, it is the defendant's own statements. Spliced, you bastard, spliced. You edited that video to make it say what you wanted to say, even after knowing Officer Cortez' microphone was low, very low. Man, please. Come on, the court, fair enough. What? See, the judge, when it says the court, this is Judge Roach. Judge Roach says, fair enough. What's your response to that? Mike Howard said, I am actually not asking about a statement. I'm asking about his crying and sobbing. At this point, the court says overruled. All right. Question. So whether we are talking about the video or not, he is an emotional and crying, sobbing, whoever you want it, however you want to call it, when he is in the squad car, correct? In my report again, it was emotional at the point he made the comment as we are escorting him to the squad car. Sure. Question, but I am asking you about later. When you are in the car with him, or when you go back to the car and you open the door, he's emotional throughout that period. Is that fair? From what I recall, the main highlight from me when he was emotional doing the escort from the time I detained him and then we walked him to the squad car. He said, okay. And then my whole focus after that was to get more information from the other officers that was on the scene. Question, do you remember him crying once you and the other officer are in the squad car and sitting and waiting before you leave the scene? With all due respect to the question, as me saying he was emotional, I'm not sure what, oh, come on now, come on with it. Oh, Officer Cortez. Oh, Officer Cortez. Once again, all these people got to do is do their job and we wouldn't even be here. Officer Cortez, oh, he's just asking you. With all due respect to that question, as me saying he was emotional, I'm not sure what he is feeling at this point. Did I see tears coming down his face? I can't testify to that because I didn't see that. I simply stated that he was emotional based on the tone of his voice. But in all due respect, to that question, if you were to say in labeling crying as tears running down his face again, my description was based on the tone of his voice. And that's why I described it as being emotional. Let me simplify. Come on with it, Mike Howard. Come on with it, Mike Howard. Let me simplify. Oh, this was good. I would assume that you have heard the sounds of crying in your life. Oh my gosh. Officer Cortez put himself actually into this. Let me simplify. I would assume to you that you have heard the sounds of crying in your life. Fair. They are pretty distinct. Fair. He said, sure. Not everybody, when they cry, sounds exactly the same, whether it's a big cry, a small cry. Crying has a distinct sound. I mean, I can cry silently, but I can also cry and kind of wail and moan and boo-hoo, whatever we want to call it. Is that fair? I am just asking you if you heard that some sort of sound in your life. Sure. Officer Cortez says, sure, I have heard those type of sounds. Then he says, did you hear those sort of sounds from Karmelo Anthony when he was back in the back of your squad car? Answer, ladies and gentlemen, what I heard. Question. It is a yes or no answer, sir. Mike Howard. Mike Howard. It is a yes or no answer question, sir. Did you hear those sounds? I'm trying to. He finally said yes. He said, you like Mike Howard? No, you missing it. Wow. You missing it. You missing it. Wow. No. I have beat up Mike Howard for so many weeks. I'm saying I see at least that, I thought when Mike Howard cross-examined these people, it was very like whatever. I see that Mike Howard, he's at least trying to present a push back. That's what I'm talking about. But this is day 68. I'm pretty sure you probably didn't find me in the days in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, but I have ate up Mike Howard so many times. I'm just saying, I'm surprised that Mike Howard, he was pushing back. So stay tuned. Okay. So he said, yes, thank you. Okay. Let me back up. So when you first arrived, I believe the government pointed this out, but when you first arrived, there was a fence between you and Mello. See, I think Mike Howard's about to hit on what I hit on. That's correct. To be fair, by fence, I mean, it is a chain link fence. It's a few feet high, 4 feet high. Is that something like that? Yeah, maybe about waist high, give or take, maybe You could hop over if you wanted to, right? Potentially, right? But there's a barrier between you. Oh God, I think Mike Howard's about to hit the same logic that I hit. Yes. And we saw it on the video. As you approach, you seem to be motioning towards Melo. Is that correct? Motioning in what way? Like maybe calling him over. I don't know exactly what you're doing, but it looks like to me you're calling him over, verbally calling him out. Okay, as he complies. He complied. Okay, you put that in your report too. He says yes. He walked directly over to you. He said he walked directly over to me. Yes. Didn't turn and run. He says no. I believe we saw he had his hands up, correct? When I requested, he put his hands up and he followed that request immediately. Yes, he did. I'm sorry, he did. And then as you walked along the pathway, he is walking along with you, right? But of course, with the fence between y'all. That is correct. And he continued to walk with you, correct? Yes. He complied with your commands. He's complying. Is he not resisting? Not struggling? No. Not turning to run? No. When you gave redacted, when you asked for his name, he gave you his complete name. That is correct. He even started spelling it out for you even before you got to the car and asked for spelling correctly. If I remember correctly, I believe that's correct. Okay. Yeah. I think we saw that. Basically, every time he gave you his name, he would start to spell out it started to spell it out for you. That's fair. I assume in your career as a law enforcement officer, you have dealt with a lot of suspects. See, this why, hey, even though I don't like Mike Howard because what he did, I got to give him some credit because he gave up the affidavit within 30 days that the Karmelo Anthony appeal legal team put perfectly in the middle of Karmelo Anthony appeal packet. So I got to give him credit. No other lawyer in history ever said they railroad their own client. So I'm going to get him credit now. I know it, Mike Howard, going with this. I assume in your career as a law enforcement officer, you have dealt with a lot of suspects, a lot of individuals, correct? That's fair to say, because he's been on the police force for about 13 years, y'all. Remember that in the beginning. Is it common for people to refuse to give you a name, correct? It has happened in my career. And people give you fake names, right? That has happened in my career, yes. And I assume it has happened a number of times, not just one. Yes, fair. I see where Mike Howard is going. Fair. We have a crime for that failure to identify. Is that correct? In Texas, that's correct. And I'm sure you have arrested people for failure to identify before, have you not? If I remember correctly, during the course of my career, I would say that I probably have. Come on, Officer Cortez. Yes, but Melo didn't. No, he didn't. Now, the blank statement about the blank, after you said on the radio, you were radioing to dispatch to other officers that I have the alleged suspect. Officer Cortez says, okay. Correct? Yes. Okay. That is to let everybody know, because there is a lot of officers coming to the scene so they can adjust and know that they are not needed to look for a suspect. Yes, that's fair, because there's a lot of other things that officers need to be doing at that time. Correct. All right. They need to tend to Mr. Metcalf. They need to find witnesses. They need to secure the scene. Correct. All right. So you are not saying that triggered. Hold on. Let me back up. So you are not saying that triggered Melo to make a statement or anything like that. He says, no, of course not. You have very particular training to not question a suspect before giving them their Miranda rights. There we go. Justine Miranda rights. What we call Miranda rights to the person, to the right to remain silent and all of that. That's correct. And of course, you followed the training appropriately. Yes, sir. And yet, Melo made the statement on his own, correct? That's correct. Not in response to any question. Mike Howard is getting to the body cam portion that we probably didn't see. So you remember we said, you know, where was the Miranda rights? Matter of fact, just let me read. I'm gonna stick with my thoughts. Just let me read. Hold on. I'm gonna keep that to myself. Not in response to any question, correct. And I assume you have had a lot of suspects that have interacted you with that deny whatever they are accused of. I'm assuming very common. I wouldn't say a lot, but has it happened in my career? Yes. I would assume it was very common. He answers, I mean, if you want to believe it was very, of course, it happened in my career. Okay. It's a little hard to hear on the audio. Oh my gosh, Mike Howard. Oh, it's a little hard to hear on the audio. I forgot that when I listen to it, I have like headphones on. But when you are asking for his full name, once he's in the squad car and you're writing it on your notepad, we can see blank. Okay, yes. That's when Melo is asked, is he going to be okay? Is that blank? Does that seem right? Oh, come on. Come on, Officer Cortez. I'm not if it is at that specific moment, if that's when he acts, but it would be in the video distinctly when he said it. Okay, sure. You talked about how it was raining off and on throughout the day. Oh, Mike Howard's going to come back and do an alley hoop on that one. Correct. It was raining hard at times. Is that fair? He said that's fair. Once you are in the squad car and the other officer is with you there, sitting with you, the other officer remember remarking, we are going to need scuba gear. It is raining so hard. Do you remember, y'all? This was not in the release body cam portions that was released to the public, because I never heard of them talked about they needing scuba gear. It is raining so hard. Do you remember? He says, I do not. Okay. You drive with the other officer. You drive with the other officer with Melo in the backseat of the car to jail. Is that correct? He said that's correct. And that is blank. Then you stay with Melo throughout the blank, what we call the bookend process, the process of getting him turned over to the custody of the jail. That is correct. And then you write the incident report to document your role and what you did for the detectives later, right? Yes. Were you the one who documented? Oh, here we go. Were you the one that documented Karmelo Anthony weight as 130 pounds in the incident? He says no. Well, who did? Hold on. Well, who did? Okay. But you would assume that if it's in the report, it is accurate. Oh, this is why Mike Howard brought up documenting in his training. Okay. Is that accurate? That's somebody did their job and blank, like you. As far as height, as far as weight, the jail staff taking his weight, I'm not sure. Okay, fair enough. How long have you blank? You said you have been an officer since blank. What is it? It was 2022 as a SRO. As a SRO since January of 2022. And then was that your first role in law enforcement, or did you work patrol before that? Or I did work patrol before that. Okay. How long you working patrol before that? For FISCO PD, July of 2016. And then with Allen PD, I spent in training for all about 7 months or so. As a licensed, I forgot, this is the word, peace officers. Karmelo Anthony thought he was talking to all peace officers that had integrity. Okay. As a licensed certified peace officer. So sum total, before you became a SRO, how long in? Just under 10 years. Okay. I just want to make sure you said 2016, but I wanted to make sure you didn't mean just year of 2016. Okay. You have worked in law enforcement capacity in patrol, interacting with suspects and witnesses for many years. Yes. Mike, I was about to say something, y'all. In your training and experience, have you seen where people cause bodily harm or even D word with just their hands. Mike Howard. I knew he was gonna circle back. Hold on. Let me read this slowly. In your training and experience, have you seen where people cause serious bodily injury or even D with just their hands? Serious bodily injury as far as the D word, not necessarily, no. Okay. You have never personally worked a case where somebody caused death with just their hands and their feet, but definitely seriously bodily injury. Answer, seriously, serious bodily injury. Okay. And I assume you have seen investigations of case that you were involved with groups of people that caused seriously bodily injury with just their hands or their feet, hands or feet without a weapon. That's fair to say. Talking about the weapon policy, hold on, y'all. Talking about the weapon policy that the government asked you about. So FISCO ISD has a policy, right? Oh, here we go. Hold on. That's correct. Any violations to that policy can lead suspension, right? Ooh, here we go. Thank you. Some source of discipline within FISCO ISD, right? Sure. But that's not a criminal offense, correct? That's a policy for FISCO ISD. It's a policy of FISCO ISD. And you are aware that through your training and experience, part of that is knowledge of Texas Penal Code, correct? Yes. You are not a lawyer, but of course you have to know the Penal Code basically to be able to decide probable cause to make an arrest and that sort of thing. Where we finna go, y'all? Where we finna go? Is that correct? He says fair. So are you aware that the knife under 5.5 inches is not possible? Hold on. So are you aware that the knife under 5.5 inches is not blank? Possession of that is not lawfully carrying a weapon, correct? He says correct. All right. It is not possession of a prohibited weapon, correct? The officer says correct. This is where we get, okay, this is what it is. It is not possession of a weapon in a prohibited place. It is not a crime. It is what I am saying. The officer says correct. Mr. Howard, thank you. Pass the witness, the court. Mr. Wilkie says, I'm surprised he said there's nothing further for this officer. The court, is this witness excused by the state? Mr. Wilkie said accused by the state. The court is by the defense. Yes, Your Honor. The court, okay, you excused, sir. Thank you. Mr. Wilkie, please call your next witness. The state would call Officer Jacob Shabazz. Oh, God dang, Mike Howard. So what I did, so I see what he did. Do y'all remember when the prosecution, Bill Wirskye, he ended his line in a question regarding the signage at the school, talking about no weapons allowed, these weapons are prohibited, right? And he was talking about, against the law and all this stuff. And I said, but what Karmelo Anthony had was not against the law. So Mike Howard's line of questioning just showed that. And matter of fact, Karmelo's Anthony blade, his weapon wasn't even 5.5 inches long. In Texas, you can have a Leatherman on you, a knife on you, as long as the blade is 5 inches or less. Karmelo Anthony blade was only 3.5 inches. Now, we already know this. This is part 4. We already know this. Mike Howard, at this time, we already knew that the knife was agreed upon not to be introduced. We already knew that it was a secret gentleman's agreement, handshake deal behind the scenes. But once again, Mike Howard, he played enough to do his job. Mr. Shook, he played enough to look like he was doing his job. But the prosecutor, we know he was definitely, doing his job. But I really thought that Mike Howard, he didn't push back on nothing. Mr. Shook, hey, when it came to the medical examiner, a lot got opened there, especially reasonable doubt. that even Karmelo Anthony even did the poking when they started talking about leading to that Austin failed on the weapon himself. Oh gosh, yes. Even in this right here, Mike Howard, he got the officer to say basically that Karmelo Anthony, whatever he had on him was legal. It was legal. And then also, he even got the officer to admit that he has never really seen a case where a person committed unaliving with only their hands and feet. Serious body injury, yes, but not the D word. All right, let's go here. It's been 2 hours and 33 minutes. Golly, hold on, y'all. God dang. 73. What was 73? What was 73? 73 was the photo. Okay. And they talked about the body cam. Can y'all believe that? Can y'all believe that the prosecution considered the full body cam hearsay and he didn't want it to be admissible? The nerve of the prosecution. But in Mike Howard, I'm glad Mike Howard didn't leave it there, because we know that it had to be more to that body cam. We know it had to be more to that body cam. That body cam was barely 4 minutes. And he even got the officer to say, yeah, it was longer than the 4 minutes. Hey, I got to give him some credit. Because I thought that Mike Howard didn't do none of that. Hold on. It was something else too. Hold on. Let's see right here. Let's see here. Witnesses. Okay, we read Cortez. We got some redactions here. 122. I'm gonna go. Let's read 5 minutes of that. 5 minutes of that. I want to read 5 minutes of this, because if not, I won't be able to rest. And I would cheat on you tonight, Vestas, by reading ahead. But let me go ahead and see what one of these witnesses said that has been redacted. Okay. Mr. Wiki, thank you, Your Honor. Redacted has been fully sworn, testified as the following. Direct examination. How are you today? Good. How old a man are you? 17. Okay, first of all, so why are you redacting his name? If Karmelo Anthony was considered an adult, a reasonable adult at 17, why is this 17-year-old boy got his name redacted? But hey. Oh, hold on. When you get nervous, you like to have something in your hands, don't you? Yes, sir. May I approach as may become necessary. The court says, yes, sir. I don't know what it is, but I saw you talk with something. Okay. Just a yellow ball. Could you hold it up for so members of the jury can see you found something, didn't you? He said, yes. Every time we talked, you had a football, haven't you? He said, yes, sir. You like football, don't you? He said, yes, sir. We talked a couple times. Is that right? He said, yes. And your mom has always been present when you talk. He says, yes, sir. Is your mom in the courtroom today? He says, yes, sir. Okay, what is her name? Her name is Candace. Okay. Would you point to her? She's over there in the back, Mr. Wilkie. All right, maybe your mom can wave. All right. And you go to Memorial, don't you? He said, yes, sir. Hold one. Okay. He said, you like football, right? You like football. And what position do you play? Wide receiver. Okay, so this is somebody else on the football team with the Metcalf brothers, and also the track team with the Metcalf brothers. Okay. Do you also do track? Yes, sir. What events do you do? 200, 400, 800, 4x1, 4x1, 4x2, 4x4. So these are all sprinting events. The only sprinting event that he's missing is the 100 meters, but he got the 200 meters, the 400 meters, the 800 meters, the 4x1 and the 4x2 and the 4x4. He's a sprinter. So this is a sprinter. Okay, so you are fast. He said, yes, sir. Okay, Jess blank. That's okay to smile. You can be proud. Okay, you're the class of 2027. So this young man here now is He's going to graduate next year, so he's still in high school. Okay, so I can see why they probably redacted his name. He's still in high school. You're the class of 27, right? Yes, sir. Getting ready for your senior year? He says, okay, yes. Okay. And who are your football coaches at Memorial? Do I name all of them? Who's the wide receiver coach? That would be blank redacted. Well, we just have to leave. We just have one leave. Coach Reeves. And then we have another one, Coach Knight. Who is your head coach? Coach Jackson. Who do you know? Coach Starr. Yes, sir. And what does he coach? He coached the linebackers. Okay. Coach Austin and Hunter was a linebacker. They were linebackers. Okay. So Coach Starr is a linebacker coach. Okay. Do you know Austin and why they got Hunter name redacted, y'all? Why they got Hunter name redacted? We know who Hunter is. Yes, sir. Let me get to it pretty quick. Do you remember the day of the district meet last year, Wednesday? This is why it was in the middle of the day. Okay, gotcha. Wednesday, April the 2nd of last year. Yes, sir. You have got to speak up. Okay, I know it is hard, but you got to speak up into the microphone. What events were you going to do at the district meet, the 800? Okay. And how did you get into district meet? A bus. How did you get to the district meet? A bus. Okay. What time did you leave Memorial? I think we left around 8 o'clock. Okay. Were most of your teammates on it? Yes. How about Austin and Hunter Metcalf? I don't remember. They were throwers. I knew it. Hunter and Austin Metcalf did not have the body to be a sprinter. I knew they was shot put throwers. I knew this. They are throwers. With their statue, they would definitely be throwers. Yes, sir. What time did you get to the Kukendall Stadium? We left about 8 o'clock, so we probably got there about 8:15, 15-minute drive. Okay, once you got to Kukendall, did y'all make a detour over to the Stanley Middle School? Oh, me and Austin? Oh, hold on. Is this one of Austin's friends that was walking through the gate with Austin? Hold on, because he volunteered Austin's name. He said, me and Austin. He said, yes, anyone. He says, yes. Oh, this is one of Austin's friends through the gates. Okay. Tell the members of the jury why y'all went to Stanley. So we went to our Stanley Field House where our weight room is, and it's me, Austin. So Austin brothers, Hunter, redacted, was there. God, why they keep redacting Hunter's name? We know he was there, and we text him, and he went down. Y'all, hold on. I know I said 5 minutes, but hold on. And we texted him, and he went down. And the reason was because our coaches from the middle school were down there. So we went down there, and we watched the middle schoolers work out. And then after the middle school workout, they got dressed and went to school, and we hung out in the coach's office with our coaches during the rain. And we were just sharing memories and having a good time about that for about an hour. Okay, so they get there, they leave their school at 8 o'clock. They get there 8:15. They go down to the weight room. Gotcha. And they talking to the other coach for about an hour. You guys have gone to Stanley together, right? Yes, sir. Who all was there? You mentioned Austin, you mentioned Hunter, and yourself. Was there anybody else? It was me, Austin, Hunter, Eddie, probably, I don't know who this was, blank and blank. So hold on. We saw Austin, Hunter, and two other friends. No. Wasn't it six that went through the gate? Or was it 4 that went through the gate? Because it said me, Austin, Hunter, blank and blank, 4. So that's 4. Okay. So this is the group that went to the blank, but 2 peeled off. I thought 2 peeled off. Okay. And blank goes to Memorial. Yes, sir. What are the other names you mentioned? Blank. Did blank go to Stanley with you? He says, yes, sir. But he went to a different high school. He didn't go to Memorial, right? He said, yes. Where did he go? Frisco High. Okay. What about what time do you leave visiting with the coaches at Stanley and make your way over to Kukendall? I think it was around 9:45, 9:50 maybe. Okay. At this time, Hunter didn't know. Austin didn't know. And 1 hour later, he wouldn't be here no more, y'all. Life is quick. Life is fast, especially when you're bullying other people. Just know if Austin, he would have left visiting his coaches, sharing memories, being with his friends. If he would have just kept his hands to himself, Austin would have ended this date, go home to his family. He definitely would have been a bully, but golly, y'all, his own actions took him out of here. Austin's own actions took him out of that. After just recouping and going down memory lane with friends and coaches, Austin's own bullying, his assault on Karmelo Anthony, his theft of Karmelo Anthony bag took him away from him. And these young kids, I think it was around 9:45, 9:50 maybe. Okay, what do y'all do when you get to Kendall? We return to the bleachers and sit down. Okay, now blank didn't go to memorial. Did blank go sit with you under the tent? No, he went back to the bus. So he must be talking about the other, he must be talking about the other friend that went to Stanley with him in middle school, but didn't go to memorial. He went to Frisco High. So he's talking about the other friend. Okay. Where did his team, that's where his team was. He said yes. And everybody is pretty close with blank, right? Somebody's redacted. Okay, just me. Okay, hold on. And everybody is pretty close with blank, right? He said just me. Is this Eddie? Is this Eddie, y'all? Hold on, y'all. This is Eddie. This is Eddie's testimony, y'all. Hold on, y'all. This is Eddie's testimony. This is Eddie's testimony that we are reading right here, y'all. Look. So the question for the prosecution to this witness is, and everybody is pretty close with blank, right? He didn't mention Austin. He didn't mention Hunter and the other one. This person says just me. This is Eddie, y'all. This is Eddie's testimony. This is Eddie's testimony. Okay, here we go. He said, just me. So the prosecution, Bill Wirskye, he says, okay, but it wouldn't have been appropriate for him to come sit under your tent, would it? Probably not. Oh, you Eddie devil. Oh, you Eddie. Here go Eddie testimony, y'all. Once you get to the tent, after, I'm just assuming at this point, I'm still assuming this is Eddie. But he says only him, just me. So I'm assuming this is Eddie. Once you get to the tent after you leave Stanley, who is there to the best of your memory? I remember blank. Okay, that's blank. Austin, blank. Anyone else you can remember? It is not a test. Don't worry. I don't remember anybody else. Okay, were there girl teammates under the tent as well? They were. Okay, a many. I think there was many located at the bottom of the tent. Okay. They're kind of hung out at the bottom of the tent. The boys at the top of the tent. Yes, sir. All right. I haven't asked you about the rain yet, but do you remember about the rain that day? He says, I remember it's pouring down as we were at the Stanley Fieldhouse, the middle school. And then I returned. I remember the rain cleared up, and that's when we returned to our tent. Okay. Hey, Bunny, this is why they call him the tent. That's why people were saying the tent, because the students call it the tent. I got you, sis. Okay. It's time to have some events, right? Yes, sir. What happened? What happened pretty quick after you get back to the memorial tent? We saw Mello, and then the event happened. Okay, so maybe this wasn't Eddie. We saw Mello, and then the event happened. But I can't say that because Eddie said he didn't even know, he wasn't even that friends with Karmelo Anthony. And we already know he lied. So this actually could be Eddie's Para's testimony, but everything is redacted. But Austin didn't know him. Hunter said he didn't know him. This guy right here, he says we saw Mello. So he's talking like he has a knowledge of who Karmelo Anthony is. All right. Now, if this was Eddie is setting the tone. If this is Eddie's testimony, Eddie is setting the tone as if he's walking back to the tent and Karmelo Anthony is just sitting under the tent. If this is if this is Eddie's testimony. But let's keep reading. We saw Melo. I'm still saying, I think this is Eddie's testimony. We saw Melo and then an event happened. Okay. The person you later came to know is Karmelo Anthony, right? Okay. My bad. But still, yes. Because Eddie only said he only talked to him 3 times, or he only knew him 3 times, or something about Karmelo Anthony. Yes. I saw you move your eyes over there earlier. You know he's in the courtroom. Yes. Oh, what is this? Okay. I saw you move your eyes over there earlier. So the witness on the stand, he looked at Karmelo Anthony earlier. You know he's in the courtroom, right? He says, yes, sir. He came under the tent. He says, yes, sir. Did he go to Memorial? No, sir. Was he wearing school gear? Centennial School gear. What did he do when he got to your tent? Okay. So this is not Eddie. He says, I believe he is hanging out with Eddie Parra. Okay, so he's even saying, okay, so this is the one that was walking in the fence with Austin and Hunter and the other 2 people. Okay, so this is not Eddie. This is not Eddie. I confirm this is not Eddie. This witness is saying, I believe he's hanging out with Eddie. Okay. So that means that Karmelo Anthony, once again, was under the tent first. Okay, he blank sounds like he knew blank a little bit, correct? He said, yes, sir. And you are going to correct me because I always say it wrong. Did he dab up or dap up? It's a dap, okay? Mr. Wilkie said, so the record is clear, Your Honor. There had been some disagreement among the witnesses in this case. You said dap, right? Yes, sir. I'm going to say dap with you. All right. They dapped up. What happened? And that's what happened. And what happened? They talked some. Okay. And then the next thing you remember, that's important. I remember people confronting Karmelo. Oh my goodness, gonna go quick. No. Whoa. I remember people confronting Karmelo and saying you shouldn't be here, like you need to leave our tent. Okay. And when you said people, who do you remember? I remember it was Austin, Hunter. This is Hunter. And I think I also said you have to leave. You also told him to leave, right? Yes, sir. You used the word confront. And that would mean different things in different contexts. Did y'all stand up and get close to him, gang up on him, or say you need to leave? No, sir. And how are you using confront? Describe what you mean for the members of the jury when you said confront. Well, I mean, if this lady here was Karmelo, I would say like, hey, you are in our tent. You shouldn't be here. So hold on. Whoever this witness is, he already said when he walked up, Karmelo Anthony was already talking to Eric Parra, and nobody else had said nothing to him until they started confronting Karmelo Anthony, saying you need to leave under the tent. So that means before he got there, that means everybody was calm under the tent. Karmelo was talking to Eddie. Everybody was chilling. Everybody was just under there being sociable. But it wasn't until this crew came up here and started the confrontation with Karmelo Anthony. Here you go. I mean, if this lady here was Karmelo, I would have been like, hey, you're under the tent. You shouldn't be here. Okay. Was it angry? I don't recall. Okay. Was it aggressive? I don't think so. Man, get out of here. Okay. It was just like you just demonstrated it. Hey, you don't need to be here. Yes, sir. Numerous members of the team, correct? Yes, sir. When you told him to leave, do you remember? Were you sitting down or standing up? If I was sitting here, he would have been sitting here next to him. Hold on. He says, if I'm sitting here, he would have been sitting here next to me. When you told him to leave, do you remember where were you sitting? Were you sitting down or standing up? If I was sitting here, he would have been sitting here next to me. Okay. And you have described both of you people sitting. Was anybody standing up under the tent at this time? Austin was standing right about here. So Austin was standing. And this right here is the prosecution's examination. Okay, but everybody else was seated. He said, yes, sir. What's the next thing you remember after you and blank Hunter, you and Hunter and Austin say, hey, you need to go? What's the next thing you remember? He said, I remember it getting more aggressive. Describe what you mean aggressive. That's another one of those words that can mean different things in different contexts. I remember Karmelo refusing to leave, and then Austin was like, you need to leave. And I believe Karmelo said, touch me and find out. Okay. You just described an exchange between Austin and Karmelo Anthony. Was it angry? It was getting there. Who was angry? Both. He says both. Okay. How many times was Karmelo Anthony asked to leave the tent? Many times. More than 5, more than 10, more, 15, around that. Okay. So it was a back and forth quite for a while, right? You have to say yes or no. He says yes. And it just wasn't Austin. It was people such as you saying this, right? He says yes. But again, you guys were all seated correctly. Y'all, did anybody try to gang up on him, surround him, and mob up on him to get him out of the tent? He says, no, sir. He said, did you yourself, blank, if you saw this go back and forth 10 to 15 times, do you think a fight was about to break out? I think maybe minor pushing at most. What? Minor pushing at most. Okay. Were you worried about it? He says, no. Were you more annoyed about it? No. So how long does this go on? Roughly 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. Austin Metcalf takes the lead in trying to get Karmelo. Now, isn't this proof here that I told you that in Mike Howard's affidavit that he said that the prosecutor knew that Austin Metcalf was the primary aggressor in this event? Because when Mike Howard in the affidavit, I think paragraph 23, when he kept bringing up the ambiguous aggressor, the prosecution said, just let's stop talking about the ambiguous aggressor because the prosecution knew that Austin was the aggressor. Look right here. Okay, on page 134, he says, okay, and Austin Metcalf takes the lead in trying to get Karmelo Anthony out of the tent. Y'all, this is the prosecution knew that at this time, and he already knew before this, but even the line of questioning, he knew that Austin Metcalf had assaulted Karmelo Anthony at this time. And Austin Metcalf takes the lead in trying to get, this right here is action word, to get Karmelo out of the tent, correct? He says, yes, sir. Is Karmelo Anthony aggressive? Yes, sir. Is Karmelo Anthony angry? Yes, sir. Was Austin Metcalf aggressive? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Yes, sir. Was Austin angry? He says, yes, sir. And you mentioned the quote that you just mentioned. Tell me that again. What did Melo say? Touch me and what? Find out. How did you take that remark? That he, oh my God. This right here. No. Teenagers don't talk like this. Let me read it. That he was trying to escalate the situation. Do y'all think that a 17-year-old boy was saying that Karmelo Anthony was trying to escalate the situation? Okay. Again, escalate is such a big word. Describe what you mean when you say escalate. Maybe provoke Austin. No. This is no. Maybe Austin, maybe provoke Austin into doing something aggressive or starting a fight. How when Karmelo Anthony was already sitting under the fence and it was Austin was the one that was standing under him, which we just read, Austin was the only one standing up in this account. And he was the one that said, hey, you got to leave, even though Karmelo Anthony was already under the tent talking to Austin. Come on with it. Come on, 17-year-old boy. Did Austin seem like he wanted to fight? He didn't seem like he wanted to fight, but then Karmelo started refusing to leave. When you say Austin didn't seem like he wanted to fight, describe to the members of the jury what you mean. He was originally calm, asking him to leave, and then it kind of like, as things went on, it was like exponentially, I'll mess that word up, getting more aggressive. Karmelo Anthony was exponentially getting more aggressive. I would say them both. as they went back and forth. Okay, but who was provoking? See this right here. Let me get some water. What happened? Oh, here we go, y'all. This right here goes into everything that we said before. Austin leans in to push him. Going back to part 3, didn't we say we came up with, when I was doing that reenactment about the pushing and the pulling and the pushing and the pulling, and when he went to push Karmelo Anthony back, Karmelo Anthony's hand comes out of that book bag. When they snatched his book bag, the weapon is exposed, and Austin, when he leans in to grab Karmelo Anthony like this, he didn't know that Karmelo Anthony had something in his lap, and he fell on the weapon himself. Now, mind you, this is the prosecution's question. This is the prosecution. No, I'm sorry. The prosecution said what happened next. This is the witness statement. He said, Austin leans in to push him, then Melo stabs him. Austin leans in and falls in, which from anybody else perspective, they would say that Karmelo blanked him, right? Right? But they don't know that Austin leaned in on it and impaled himself. So did you see that? He says, yeah. So, hey, we got one witness to say that, yes, they actually saw Karmelo. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? Now, the new defense legal team, whoever this witness is, you need to call him up to the stand, since we know he's a 17-year-old boy, and ask, how did you see Karmelo Anthony poke him? Because Hunter didn't even see it. Nobody said they saw it. But this young man here, we got proof now that he said he saw Karmelo Anthony actually did it. How? Unless he was on the side of him. He did say he was sitting on this side of Karmelo Anthony. And if Austin is standing up facing Karmelo Anthony, he saw that. He saw that. Okay. Did you see that? He says yes. Did you see? Here we go. Listen. I got ahead of myself. He said, did you see the blank? He says, I did not. Interesting. Hold on. So how did he know that Karmelo Anthony hit Austin then? How does he know that Karmelo Anthony hit him then? He said, Austin leans in to push him. And then Karmelo, leans in to push him. So hold on. He's making it seem like Karmelo just initially just hit him first. Austin leans in to push him, then Karmelo hit him, right? Did you see that? He says, yes. Did you see the knife? He said, I did not. Do you know where the knife came from? He says, yes. Okay. We haven't talked about it yet, so let's back up. Where did the weapon come from? He said, a backpack in Karmelo Anthony's lap. This is lining up to what we said in part 3. When they snatched the book bag, they didn't know that Karmelo Anthony had his hand already on the Leatherman to defend himself against the bully. So when they snatched it and they went to lean in on him, they didn't see it, and Austin impaled himself on the weapon. All right, here we go. Doing the back and forth between Austin and Karmelo did blank. What role did the backpack play? Karmelo had his hands inside his backpack, which we thought he was bluffing. See, why did you think he was bluffing? Well, we never experienced a danger like that, and we live in a safe area. Basically, so they thought that since they lived in a safe area, that they could walk up to somebody that they didn't know, because everybody's saying, except for every Potter, they didn't know Karmelo. Who would have enough confidence to walk up on somebody that they didn't know to start a fight? And because you live in a safe area, you think that you can beat up on a small, tiny boy named Karmelo Anthony, because because the prosecution said that Karmelo Anthony was small and tiny. So these big bullies thought, when they saw that black boy up there, small and skinny for Centennial, right? They thought that they could move him easy because they were 200 and plus pounds. Not knowing Karmelo Anthony didn't go to that school. He didn't know who it was. Matter of fact, Mike Howard said Karmelo Anthony said that he thought that the boys was playing and bluffing at the time, right? He didn't take him serious. He thought it was a joke because he was just sitting under his friends. Basically, you live in Frisco, right? You thought it was a bluff. He said, exactly. Turns out you were wrong. He says, yes. After Austin is blank, what does Karmelo Anthony do? He throws the knife up the bleachers. And then, oh, Lord Jesus. He doesn't even say Karmelo Anthony ran up the bleachers. He's saying that Karmelo Anthony throws the knife up the bleachers, then run away. Did you see him throw the blank? He said, I saw the motion, but I didn't realize he had a blank, a poker. Did you hear the knife land? He said, yeah, describe that. Metal against metal, a clank, a clunk. So you knew that blank had landed on those aluminum bleachers. I didn't know what landed. Once he throws the blank and jumps out of the tent, what does he do? He goes down the bleachers, run a little, then start walking, and then run down to the track where where his coaches grab him. So once again, this witness here, he's basically saying that Karmelo Anthony did not try to get away from the crime scene. For everybody that's saying that Karmelo Anthony ran away from the bleachers, he's saying that he runs down to the track where his coaches grab him. Okay, let me take you back to the tent, and we have to talk about this. But after the stabbing, how was Austin? Austin fell down the bleachers onto his back, and then he got up. Oh, hold on. Oh, so Austin got up after Austin hit him, after Karmelo hit him, or somebody hit him. Austin fell down the bleachers onto his back, and then he got up, and then he started walking against the fence, the guardrail, and then he lifted his shirt where his chest was all bloody, and he looked scared. Didn't he say anything? He said, I think he said, oh my God. What's going through your mind, blank? Well, I thought if I had broke out, hold on. He said, I thought if I had broke out when Austin fell down the bleachers, then he blank, and then I moved in because like I had got to get up, and you know what we're seeing. And he lifted his shirt. I see the blood, and I realized what happened. And I pulled out my phone and called the ambulance. Hold one. Now, hold one. So you know how they tried to make it seem like Karmelo Anthony, when he hit him like that in the chest, that it automatically, because remember, what did they ask the medical examiner? They said, hey, is this the nick in the heart of the chest? Is it survivable? He said, no. He said, how can anybody that get hit like that, could they survive that? They said they would already have to be on the operating table under the knife with sutures, right? We remember that. So you mean to tell me if Karmelo Anthony, with that much force, would have hit him to cause his heart to hit like that, Austin still had the ability to get up after a deadly fatal hit like that? Y'all. Austin was alive and walking after Karmelo Anthony allegedly hit him in the chest. I didn't know yet, y'all. Austin fell down the bleachers on his back, and then he got up and walked and went against the fence, the guardrail. He lifted his shirt up where his chest was all bloody and looked scared. Now, first of all, what's missing out of this, y'all? What's missing out of this? Why isn't this student talking about the second fight? Why isn't this student talking about the second fight, y'all? Hold on. Why isn't this student talking about the second fight? Hold on. I got to scroll down. Why they're not talking about the second fight? They said he died at the hospital. I read that, right? He can't even put two sentences together. 17-year-old boy don't speak like that. Right. We didn't even see Hunter speaking. Come on. It's Karmelo. They didn't. Hey, Karen. They never brought the weapon to trial. They never said nothing about the fingerprints. Facts, that's cross-examination. Called his bluff, but fooled around and found out. Why this student ain't talking about the second fight? It's still a cover-up. Once again, this student is not talking about the fight that we saw. So now we got proof that they left out the fight, and that Austin, after being hit in the chest, and he also said he didn't see. He said he didn't see where it is. Austin leaned in to push him, and then Karmelo hit him, right? He said, the prosecutor said, did you see that? He says, yes. Did you see the knife? He says, no. Where did the knife come from? He says, do you know where the knife came from? He says, yes. Let's see here. It was something else I wanted to, where was it? Okay. Let me go back to where I was. Let's see here. Okay. Austin fell down the bleachers on his back, and then he got up and then went against the fence, the guardrail, and he lifted up his shirt where his chest was all bloody, and he looked scared. So Austin, and we already know. Okay, so hold on. Let me keep reading. I'm gonna keep that to myself. Did he say anything? I think he said, "Oh my God, what's going through your mind?" Blank. Well, I can't read all this right here, but he did get out. I pulled out my phone and called the ambulance. How would you describe the push or the shove from Austin to Karmelo? If you were to say how hard a shove was, sure, whatever words you want to use. I wouldn't say it was a light shove or a hard shove. I would say it was more than a tween. But when Karmelo Anthony family saw it, they said Austin push was so hard that Eddie almost fell off of the bleachers also. You mentioned you had to get up after the S word, right? At the point of the S word, was Austin the only person standing under the tent? There may have been people standing at the bottom, but no one around the S word. So no one around the S word was standing up. Is that correct? He says correct. While this is going on between Austin and Karmelo and it ends in an S word, where is Hunter Metcalf? Ain't no way Hunter Metcalf is at that bottom. Ain't no way that even Hunter said, we confronted him, we took his book bag, and Austin pushed him. Y'all, they lying, y'all. They don't even know what Hunter said in that interview outside of his house. He's trying to say he believed that Hunter Metcalf is at the bottom of the tent while his twin brother is up there confronting Karmelo Anthony. Really? If this is true, Hunter was at the bottom of the tent being a lookout, like I said in the last live. Hunter was at the bottom of the tent being a lookout. Was Blank really involved in this? Was Hunter really involved in any of this? He says no. That's a lie, y'all. When even Hunter said Austin always backs him up. They do everything together. That's what Hunter said. Hunter said, we do everything together. Come on with it, y'all. No. Was anybody involved with Austin? Did anyone gang up on Karmelo? He says no. Also, Karmelo leaves the tent, tells me again where he went. He goes to the bottom of the bleachers and he's running and then walks at the end of the bleachers off of them and then continues to run around the track and then onto the track. Did you think he was trying to get away? Oh, look at this right here. He says yes. He said, do you think he was trying to get away? He says yes. Did you follow him? He says yes. At some point, did you call 911? Okay, so this is one of the boys that followed Karmelo Anthony. One of the two boys that was jogging after Karmelo Anthony. So this is that boy. Is this Carson? At some point, did you call 911? Yes. While I was following him, yes. You and I have listened to that call recently, correct? I have not. We haven't listened to the 911 call. And then he says we have. The young boy just says I have not. And then the prosecutor said we haven't listened to the 911 call. He says, oh, then he says, yeah, we have. We have. Yes. Okay. That's a memory. Did y'all see this happen? Okay. Well, we'll play it for the jury in a minute. Once these coaches get Karmelo Anthony, what do? I continue the phone call and I believe Blank hangs up and then I believe I go to my bus. Just like that. Hold on. This is the boy that ran out. So this boy never came back to check on Austin. I continue the phone call and then I believe she hangs up and then I believe I go to my bus. So he didn't go back to check on Austin? What happened when you got to the bus? We got on the bus and everybody just hung out for a bit. And then I called my mom and I told her to get me. And then on the way out, now something is missing. A police officer stopped me and he found out that I was there. So he kept Blank. He brought me back to the field for an interview or whatever. So you talked to the police that day. He says, yes. All right. Let me try to get a little bit more details. Let me show you this big form board. We are kind of calling it a seating chart, but it's not really that specific. It was omitted in Mark State Exhibit number 23. You are soft-spoken. I'm going to ask you to stand, so you're going to be away from the microphone. But all of these people need to see where you were pointing to, and all of these people need to hear what you are saying. So they are relying on a big form board instead of the distorted video they brought to court. So once again, none of the witnesses could point themselves out in a video because it was so distorted, but they used a big form board. But all of these people need to see where you were pointing, and all these people need to hear what you were saying. He said, okay, can you point for the members of the jury, the back and forth you subscribe? The stabbing, you had described where to your memory you were seated. So I was seated here, okay. And then Karmelo Anthony was seated here. Was Karmelo actually outside the tent? I believe so. Hold on. He said, the question the prosecution asked, was Karmelo actually outside the tent? He said, I believe so. So Karmelo Anthony was not even under the tent. According to this witness, he said, I believe so. Okay, so he wasn't blank, wouldn't have been covered if it was raining. Correct. Oh. So he actually was just sitting under the bleacher. He was sitting on the bleacher. He wasn't even under the tent, y'all. Correct. Okay, where was everybody else to the best of your memory? I believe blank and blank were here, the court. Just speak up a little bit more. I believe blank and blank was sitting here, and then I remember blank here, and then I think blank was here. And this is all the people I remember. I feel like blank was maybe over here, down here, and I remember blank down here, and then I remember Austin standing right here. Okay, how close were you to the blank? The blank was here, the blank was here, and I was sitting here. Okay, could you have reached out and touched Austin, for instance? Because he said he was sitting right next to Karmelo, so of course. He said, I believe so. Could you have reached out and touched Karmelo Anthony? He said, I believe so. He said, okay, have a seat. You did mention the girls were down front. He said, yes, sir. Let's talk about the 911 call. I am going to show you 2 thumb drives. One has been marked for identification as state 75. The second one has been marked for identification as states 75 alpha. I don't know if you remember me telling you, but the first part of your 911 call is actually an unrelated 911 call. I don't know if you remember me telling you, but the first part of your 911 call is actually an unrelated 911 call. Do you remember me telling you that? He says yes. So we went back and made States Exhibit 75 Alpha. That just has your call, correct? Yes. Okay. Judge, at this time, I'm going to offer State Exhibit 75 for your record, for the record. He said it was omitted, Mr. Wirskye. And I'm going to offer States Exhibit 75 Alpha 911 call for purposes. Mr. Howard, no objections. The court, it is omitted. Mr. Wirskye, permission to publish the 911 call? He said, yes, sir. You remember that call? He said, yes, sir. Was it hard for you to listen to? He says, yes. How come? It was a hard day. Let me show you a video for that morning. You and I have watched it before. It's going to be the State's Exhibit number 12. Mr. Mitchell is bringing it up right now. Can you see that? He says, yes, sir. Okay, you and I watched this. But that's the video of you guys coming into Kendall. So I was correct. This is one of the guys that was coming into the fence area with Austin and Hunter and another boy. Okay, so this is one of these boys. We may need to go back and look at that one. But this is also the boy that ran to the bus. He kept running and running and running. He never came back to the stadium to check on Austin after the poking. But that's the video, you guys, coming into Kendall from Stanley Middle School, correct? He said yes. Everybody in a good mood that day? He says yes. Everybody happy? He says yes. Who is this? The highlight is Austin. Are you in there? Oh, he says, I'm the person right behind him. And to the right of me is where we know where he now was at the video. And blank is wearing his color team, his team color, correct? He said, yes, sir. Okay, let's play. Let's stop right there. Who is that? Blank and blank. And blank goes to Memorial. Is that correct? He says, yes. You mentioned you followed Karmelo Anthony down the bleachers. You were pointing him out. So he was one of the boys that was pointing at Karmelo Anthony when Karmelo Anthony ran down the bleachers to go get help to an adult. Okay, so now we know who this boy is. Were you pointing him out? He said, yes, sir. Okay, let me show you some photographs here. We're going to start with states number 13. Do you see yourself in this photo? I'm not sure because it is blurry. So even in the photos they brought to court was blurry. Even the photographs they brought to court was blurry. Inside the yellow circle, do you know if that's you? That guy has a backpack on, which makes me think it may not be. But I do agree I am there behind him somewhere. Okay. Was there anybody else going with you to point out Karmelo Anthony? Yes. Who was that? It may have been blank. Okay. And that's blank. Yes, sir. And I show you state 14. The one to the left is me, and the one to the right, I don't remember. Okay, fair enough. But that's you following him anyway. Yes, sir. And I think you mentioned this, but he ran fast at first. Yes. But then he slowed down. He said yes. At the top of that ramp you see, he slowed down. And then at the end of the ramp, I believe he started running again. Were you aware that he knew you guys were behind him? He says, I'm not aware. Do you know whether he knew you were behind him? He said, oh, sorry. Oh, that's okay. It's a bad question. No, I don't think he knew. Okay. And there has been some talk about whether he was trying to get to the field or get away. Do you have an opinion on which of those two he was trying to do? Mr. Shook said, Judge, I'll object to speculation. The court said sustain. Based on what you saw, what was your impression of Karmelo Anthony as he ran from the crime scene? He was trying to be anywhere but where he was because he created a problem. Y'all, listen this right here. Listen. Okay, fair enough. Do you remember specific quotes from either Karmelo or Austin Metcalf doing the back and forth? Ones I haven't listed. He said, next question. Did Karmelo Anthony tell Austin Metcalf what he was going to do? Hold on. Did Karmelo Anthony tell Austin Metcalf what he was going to have to do to get him to leave the tent? It's okay if you don't. The only thing I remember is him saying, like, touch me and find out. Austin Metcalf meant a lot to you. He says, yes, sir. We've been talking about this individual, Karmelo Anthony, and we've talked about how he's in the courtroom. Do you see him? Yes, sir. Could you point him out and tell me what he is wearing? He is wearing a blue suit with a blue tie with stripes on it. Based on what you saw, did Austin deserve to get poked? No, sir. As best you understand self-defense, was this stabbing self-defense? This is one of the biggest areas. Only experts can say what was self-defense or not. But because of the secret agreement, experts couldn't come in and actually say yes or no or self-defense. Yet they asked a 17-year-old about self-defense who said, okay. Who was provoking that day, Karmelo? Did Austin want to fight? He says, no, sir. The next day, you went to breakfast with a few of your friends. Is that right? Yes, sir. Where do y'all go? Austin's favorite restaurant. What is the name of that? La Finca? La Finca? Who went with you? My friend blank and blank. And blank is a memorial student. Yes, sir. And he was under the tent that day as well. He says, yes, sir. That was your way of honoring Austin. Yes, sir. I passed to the witness, Mr. Shook, cross-examination. Hold on. Page 148. Let me see how long this is. Oh, God. Ooh-wee. Okay, y'all. What? It's 3 hours. Oh, 3 hours. Okay, y'all. So tomorrow we'll pick up here. We'll pick up here. Okay, did you see Karmelo as he went backwards and the knife came out of pack? Hold on. God dang it. God dang it. 2 hands by the shoulder. Hold on. God dang it. Both of them got angry, and then Karmelo was still sitting down though. Is that right? He said, yes, sir. Austin went over and got close to him to push him. He said, yes, sir. And when you say push, I think the way you described it, it was a light, it was hard, it was sun in the middle. He said, yes. And do you remember how he pushed him? Did he use 1 hand, 2 hands by the shoulder? So that's when he pushed him back and he impaled himself, y'all. This shows that Austin impaled himself by Karmelo Anthony self-defense Leatherman. Okay, 2 hands by his shoulder, 2 hands by the shoulders. Okay, and when you were turned and looked, and so you were turned and looking, and about how far were you from him? How far was I? Yeah, from where it happened. Well, I was right here from me. It was right here from me, so about 2 feet. Okay, but you, as Austin came and you said it was so in the middle, did it cause Karmelo Anthony to go back? He said, yes, sir. He just said that Karmelo Anthony, the force from Austin to Karmelo, forced him to go back. Y'all, that knife came up, and when Austin went to push 2 hands and push him down, that knife came up in him, y'all. He was impaled. Did you see Karmelo as he went back? Was a knife came out of pocket? I did not see the object. I saw the motion. You say you saw the motion. He said, yes, sir. What kind of motion? In Karmelo's Anthony leaning back. In Karmelo's leaning back, I saw him lean forward and all of a sudden went like this and he went in. May I approach? I'm sitting low, so I couldn't really see. Could you show me again? And maybe you have, and we may have you maybe then step out so you can show the jurors exactly what you saw. He said, okay. Could you show me real quick? Witnesses demonstrating. And where was Austin? He was standing right in front of Karmelo when it happened. They were a little off-centered like this. They were a little off-centered, so you probably would have been here to me, the court. No one can see your hands. No one can see his hands. I can see them from here, but no one else can. Mr. Shook, can I have him? So Mr. Shook is asking him, can I have him step down? He says, yes. Is this chair movable? It does move. Is it all right if I use that? The court says, yes, sure. Do you mind if I step down and you can show us? We can all see. We are going to have to keep our voices up since we don't have microphones. So that's the jury can see. We'll put the chair here. The court says, speak up, Shook, speak up. Okay. We're going to keep our voices up. All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Shook says, okay, is that good? Can everybody hear me? If you can sit down in your chair and if you can demonstrate, first of all, I will sit in the chair and demonstrate to the jury. You be Austin and how you saw it. Okay. Karmelo is sitting like this. Karmelo is sitting like this. Yes. And then Austin approaches. Did he have his hands down in the bag? He said, yes. Bag in lap, hand in bag. Austin comes in, pushes his shoulders. He goes back. The hand comes out and then goes down the bleachers. Oh, no, baby. No. This don't even make sense. Austin comes in, pushes his shoulder. He's go back. The hand comes out. So why he didn't say that he saw the weapon go into Austin's body? Did y'all see this? He left that out. If he's describing what happened, how can he say he saw Austin comes in, pushes Karmelo's shoulders, he goes back, and then the hand comes out, and then I go down the bleachers? Why he didn't, in this series of events, say that he saw Karmelo Anthony hit him with the poker? I didn't hear what you said last part. The witness says, so when I lean in, he goes backwards. His hands come out of his book bags, comes to me. What? Hold on, the witness just said. Now look at what the witness just said. So when I lean in, he goes backwards. His hands come out of the backpack, comes to me. Who's coming to you? Who's coming to you, witness? Comes to me, and then I go backwards, and then I am down the bleachers. Comes to me. Who's coming to you? And then I go backwards, and then I'm down the bleachers. Hold on. And of course, and you are, thank you. So the court says, who are you? You are, I am Austin. Okay, so he says Austin. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, because I got confused too. And when you was watching it, you were turned so you could see the full view of that. What was that? Hold on. When you was watching, what happened? Did you turn and were you getting a good view of the blank? I was watching over my shoulder like this. What? Hold on, y'all. He said he was watching over his shoulder like this. Watching over his shoulder? But he just said that he was sitting next to Karmelo Anthony. Watching over your shoulder. Demonstrating. All right. What you just described when Austin approached Karmelo, the shoving and the stabbing that happened, did all of that happen very quickly? He says, yes, sir. So quickly that you didn't even see the knife? Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate your answering my question. The court, do you pass on the witness, Mr. Shook? Do you pass the witness, Mr. Shook? He said, yes, sir. Mr. Wilkie, nothing further. Is the court, is this witness excused by the state? No objection. Oh, oh, no. Hey, okay, y'all. So tomorrow we're going to start it. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Today is 68. Tomorrow be day 69. And hey, tomorrow we will be exactly 48 hours from Karmelo Anthony refusal to motion to recuse John Roach. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Y'all, we got to get this right here. We're going to come back to cross-examination. We're going to tomorrow we're going to start at page 148. If you want to read ahead, go ahead. I'm not going to read ahead because I like reading with you. So page 148, we pick it up in volume 5 Oh my gosh. My Lord Jesus. Woo, my gosh. Who me, is that right? One of them admit they were standing up with Austin. I could tell the way that he was I can't tell the way he was talking. Sure, he was watching over his shoulder like a bird. And so no cell phone. Nobody still ain't mentioned cell phones, even though Officer Chris Bassnett took all the cell phones. Why nobody's mentioned cell phones? We know why nobody's mentioned the cell phones. Sure, he was watching over his shoulder like a bird. He must have thought somebody was gonna jump him. Come on with it, Cynthia. Yes, he was watching too. Shaking my effing head. Come on with it. He's a liar. Come on with it. They definitely did, not Austin only. Come on with it. Kung Fu fighting is like fighting. He's telling, hold on. Kung Fu fighting fast as lightning. Is he telling us that? Come on with it. Faith, the truth will prevail. Justice for Karmelo. Come on with it. Hey, thank you for the love, creative. Thank you. Hold on, I'm trying to get myself together because I'm like, what? It's a contradiction to say he saw Karmelo reaching in the backpack, but he didn't. That's right. That's what I'm saying. What are you saying? So, but remember, the prosecution already said in closing arguments, it was minor inconsistencies and major inconsistencies. When I read and showed the audience, and we read along, when the prosecution said that it was major inconsistencies with the witness testimonies, I said, well, what we talking about? This shouldn't even went to trial. But thank you for your love. Karmelo Anthony was found right. Yes. Thank you for that. You know what? I forgot about that in the last live. How could Karmelo Anthony have anything in his hand? The Austin Metcalf, they snatched the book back, but no other items come out. Y'all, thank you for that creative thinking. People lying. People are lying. You're right. Thank you, creative. God, I need to remember that. I need to remember that. So if he approached, that means he walked up on him. Facts. Yes. The lies. Yes. He went sideways on that video though. Yes, he did. Oh, listen. They know Karmelo Anthony got jumped. That's what they're trying to leave out. That doesn't even make sense. We saw that. We saw they ganged up on him. Okay, hold on, y'all. First, whoa. Something just hit me. Whoa. Something just hit me. Okay, so hold on. If we're just getting this information, right? If we got the distorted video after the court case, right? Why is the prosecution questioning for all the witnesses? Why is he bringing up being surrounded, being jumped on, being ganged on? We didn't know none of that. Why is the prosecution even asking these type of questions if it didn't happen? We didn't have this information. So why would the prosecution even have these type of questioning? Why would he ask these type of questionings randomly? Was Karmelo Anthony surrounded? Was he being ganged up on? I'm trying to tell you, they knew exactly what happened under that tent because they saw the crystal clear video. Because just like the impalement thing, it was the prosecution that brought up the impalement thing. Even though Mr. Shook, he was describing what happened under the tent, it was the prosecution that brought up the impalement theory that Austin fell on the weapon himself, to hang himself. And y'all, Austin fell down them bleachers and he got up and he was walking and talking before he collapsed. If he collapsed, I need to see that. I need to see he collapsed. Y'all, thank you so much for the love though. Woo, wow, facts. But why they lied and said they saw it, but right, but they never saw the blade. Come on with it. Come on with it. Thank you. Self-defense, yes. Nobody saw the stabbing, so you must come on with it. That's right. This is what the prosecution said, and I just wrote it up here. I don't like to read necessarily, but I am. On that day, for reasons or reasons unknown. Did y'all see what the prosecution, even the prosecution in his closing statements is talking hypothetical? For reasons or reasons unknown, he decided to bring a knife to the well, where's the premeditated murder then? Where's the premeditated murder? Because premeditated murder means that Karmelo Anthony, he went to the track meet to do one thing and one thing specifically, yet Karmelo Anthony was under the tent first. And yet, and I already showed you, premeditated murder says you have to show the intent. Where's the motive? Prosecutor said, I don't want to talk about the motive. He said the motive is not important. What are we talking about here, Collin County? What are we talking about here? Listen. He pulled a knife he had hidden in the backpack and swiftly and suddenly plunged it intentionally into the chest of another young man. So much that he ended his life. Oh, no, he didn't. We just read from that witness after Austin got hit by somebody. He fell down the bleachers on his bike, got up, stood up. He was walking along the fence line, the guardrail. He lifted up his shirt. He said, oh my God. Then everybody, whoo, when yelling and hollering and screaming and calling 911. Austin Metcalf. So if I'm going to raise the question, then I'm going to let y'all go. If Karmelo Anthony hit him with enough force to hit his sternum or break his sternum, how could Austin Metcalf get up, talk until he collapsed? Does that make sense? 130 pounds. I'm gonna leave that to y'all. I'm gonna lead. Listen. So, Navarra, I hope I answered your question. The prosecution said that the motive is nothing. The prosecutor said, I don't want to talk about no motives. He said, I told you from day one when I was up here, for reasons unknown, that's not important, is motive. What we talking about? Collins County, we got an issue. The prosecution called witness that did not see anything, so you convince a circumstantial evidence when you had a clear video. Come on with it, Bunny. Thank you, Bunny. Prosecution need to be prosecuted. They scared to have Hunter to get on the stand because he would end up, he's going there, Cynthia. He's going there, trust me. Tyler, It's not a knife. The cop said it was a multi-tool and it was legal to have. Everybody has been their cop. Plus, the blade on the tool is beneath the state law, which they said nothing about 5 inches. Come on with it. Come on with it. Exactly. First degree murder charges without a weapon, without DNA, and 9 witnesses who said the scuffle. Come on, nobody ain't said nothing. Come on with it. Knife, multi-tool, whatever you want to call it. The object itself is relevant since it's legal in Texas. Well, guess what, Navarra? The prosecution agreed not to introduce whatever happened it was into court. Why is that? He said he didn't want to have to worry about putting gloves on, but they brought a replica in a box. So why would the prosecution not bring the actual M weapon to court? The weapon that actually caused the fatal incident under the tent. We got an issue. Definitely railroad. I thought you had to have a motive. By law, yes. There is 3 components. Now y'all got me to stand up on my learning. There is 3 components in Texas that is required for a premeditated murder. It's in the intent, and it's 2 more. It's 2 more components, but one is the intent. What was the other 2? The first one is intent, though. They didn't prove intent. They don't even want to talk about the intent, the motive. I'm trying to think. What was the other 2? I'll find it. You have a crystal clear video and weapon, yet the prosecution was so bad they had to alter evidence to get a conviction. No motive to convince the murder. Come on with it, y'all. We talking. The motive was not even met. The motive was not even talked about. Come on. You are not supposed to brandish your weapon until necessary. Matter of fact, hey, guess what? This is what I'm saying. Let's say if Karmelo Anthony did have his hand in his book bag, he didn't brandish it. He didn't even pull it out. It was according to the twins, they the one that snatched the book bag. So I was saying in part 3, if Karmelo Anthony had his hand on something in his book bag, and when they snatched the book bag, they're the one that caused the weapon to be exposed, which Austin impaled himself with. He didn't brandish it. He didn't pull it out. Fox took it down because a screenshot of Hunter saying that on Christian Keenan TikTok. I also have it. Can you send me that link, please? Tony Talks vested up at gmail.com, just like the channel name. They knew he was bullied, jumped and thumped. Yvette, it sounds as though Austin thrust himself onto the tool with the amount before. Yes. There's a video of an older lady saying he felt only. I played that in the last live. Hunter said in an interview, all of this because of a mistake. He did say that. He called it an accident. If intent and motive was not needed, why this trial happened? No. I still got it up here. What a dummy, Bill Wirskye. Come on with it. Wow. Where do have to wait to brandish weapon? Cause in Texas, your weapon can show. But we're right. Texas is an open carry state. But I'm just saying, Karmelo Anthony didn't even pull it out. Hunter, if he had it in his hands, and I want him to describe to us how he was able to get at Austin's chest at that angle, because even the medical examiner said it was not an in and out. The medical examiner said it was a front and back wound. I said, what? The medical examiner said it was a front and back wound. The medical examiner said the weapon didn't go in and out like this. She said it was a back and forth wound. I said, what? Because it was a kangaroo court. I live in Texas. Don't you bring up Abbott. It's the one who signed the law. Anybody allowing anybody to carry knives at school. Gotcha. Premeditated murder usually goes with a motive, even in the split-second form. Yet this is not the case. Hey, the prosecution said from day one he didn't want to talk about no motives. And look how he's talking to the jury. Yeah. And how hostile encounters. Because there is a no weapon. So look at it. There's a no weapon policy. He had a secret. He had it hidden. He was the one with the knife that day. He was already always going to come out on top. That was the mindset. That was what you need to consider when you listen to what you just heard. Now tell me this. This is one of those rare cases where every important fact in every piece of applicable law can boil down to one sentence, and the sentence is, you don't get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoked it. Okay, do y'all see this right here? Do y'all see this? I told you from day one, this case is simple, indeed simple. Y'all crazy, people crazy. Does the state law overrule city council rules there in Texas? No. I meant the prosecutor said Karmelo was wrong for hiding his weapon. I'm saying Karmelo was right for hiding his weapon because the law don't want him to brandish the weapon. Fact, brandish. Fact. I know I brought that up, but I meant that the prosecutor said Karmelo was wrong for hiding his weapon. You good? Wow, you good? Back and forth, in and out is Austin going into the knife. Ooh, and then him moving out back from the knife, then started running and falling down backwards. Oh, Austin did all this damage to himself, basically. I agree with you. In Texas, law trumps any rule, including school rules. Facts. Hey, I don't live in Texas, but hey, it makes sense to me. But back and forth, in and out is Austin. And I'm gonna leave on this comment right here. Come on, Karmelo Anthony. Hey, exactly. We have hit midnight tonight. We've hit midnight tonight. So if officially it is day 69 for Karmelo Anthony. Free Karmelo Anthony. That means officially it is Monday on East Coast time, and we have 48 hours before Karmelo Anthony new legal team motion to recruit John Roach. It will be moved forward to Sid, Judge Sid Harrell. We officially on day 69, y'all. Thank y'all for being here with me. Thank you for being here with me. The Texas multiple assailant doctrine, yes, said you can use force, including deadly force, if accosted by multiple people. See, that's why he kept asking all these questions. Who was standing up? Who was sitting down? Because he knows some people was around him, but he's trying to make it seem like nobody was around Austin, even Hunter, in the same vicinity. He know what he was doing. Come on with it. Mellow action was justified. Good night. You're welcome. I'm on California time. Ooh. So if you can't watch it tomorrow, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, please, whenever, if I'm still on live, come in here. If not, please watch the replay, because we're going to start with the cross-examination of this witness, and then we're going to move forward here, okay? But thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for all of the love. Hit the like button, hit the hearts, hit the 100, and everybody have a beautiful night. All right, y'all. Woo! The prosecution said that the full body camera of Officer Cortez was inadmissible hearsay. God dang, if I was somebody else, and I'm gonna let you go. If somebody else would have told me this, if I didn't read this myself, I wouldn't have believed that the prosecution said that the full body cam was admissible hearsay. Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave on that. One second. I still can't believe this. Hearsay. Volume 5. Here we go. And then I'm gonna leave on this right here. He called the full body cam hearsay. He said that the full body cam here in inadmissible hearsay. Oh, here you go, right here. Listen, here we go, right here. Correct. But at this point, when he made the comment of he put his hands on me, I told him not to, is when I stated in my report that he was emotional. Sure. But that's not only the time that he seemed emotional. Fair, he says fair. I mean, when you got him in the car, we haven't seen that on the body cam, but there is a significant amount of time where he's sobbing. Mr. Wilkie says, Judge, I'm going to object to this. If he's referring to an item that is not in evidence, it is inadmissible hearsay. The court says it is in evidence. It is for record purposes. If he wants to offer it for all purposes, he can do that too. Mr. Wilkie said, well, then I object to hearsay. What we talking about? It's a defendant's own statement. So he's saying that Karmelo Anthony's own statements is hearsay. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do y'all see this? He's saying it's the defendant's own statements, which is hearsay. What are we? Okay, y'all. Oh gosh, hold on. Stop. Hold on. God darn it. Hold on. I was reading. Hold on. Here we go. Listen. Here we go. Correct. But at this point, when he made the comment to put his hands on me, I told him not to put his hands on me, is when I stated in my report that he was emotional. Sure. But that's not the only time he was emotional. Fair. He says fair. I mean, when you get him to the car, we haven't seen that on body cam, but there is a significant amount of time when he's sobbing. Mr. Wilkie said, prosecutor said, Judge, I'm going to object to this. If he's referring to an item that is not in evidence, it is admissible hearsay. The court says it is in evidence. It is for record purposes. If he wants to offer it for all purposes, he can do that. Mr. Wilkie says, well, then I object to hearsay. It is the defendant's own statements, y'all. And I'll leave you on that. Yes, but technically it's a multi-tool, so it wouldn't even further rule out the possibility of first degree. Thank you, Tony Investors. Bright day, Tony. Wednesday. No, I'm coming back tomorrow. Oh, yes, Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday is Karmelo Anthony. So it's two important dates this week here. August the 19th is the motion to recuse John Roach, which is Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the very next day, is the motion for Karmelo Anthony new trial. Yes, Wednesday. Yes. Still with you. Tony, until next time, rest up. Yes, thank you. The prosecution is making stuff up. The prosecution is crazy. They made up a fake definition for the word provoke. Facts. Yes, provoke and provocation, two distinct things. That's why I say a child can say his parents provoked him or her by telling them to touch my cupcake, and you'll find out. You know what? I'm not messing with you. So, Vesters, until next time, make sure you go to get your notes, your drink, and your vest, because we stay vested up over here. Tony Talks, Vested Up, Compelling Sports Edge, and Vesters. I will see you tomorrow. Okay. Thank you so much, Vesters. All right. Have a good night. And good morning to Grand Rising. Okay. Grand Rising. Woo! They released this on a Monday. Oh my. Hold on, let's see what's going on. It has been announced that Shador Sanders have got that number 2 jersey back. Oh my, we're gonna talk about this today. Hold on. Let me go through the chats. And trust me, today is a celebration. On a Monday, because normally this is Friday or Saturday type news. Go ahead and celebrate on this YouTube scenes. And we're going to say in the last 7 days or less, we talked about investors. We talked about it, and I know you remember because we don't have short-term memory over here. Hold on. Shador Sanders got that jersey back. Give me 1 second, investors.